A robot hand holds a box as a voice describes Kim Sol being forced into a hellish boxing training regimen that just began. Kim Sol explains his grim choice to not quit, revealing there was no option to say no, forcing him into a slightly better hell. Kim Sol, looking frustrated, questions the absurdity of his situation to a non-understanding robot, who asks for clarification. As Kim Sol speaks, a robot announces an unregistered product detected, adding to his frustration. The robot, Pax, stands ready with a box in the vast, automated logistics center as Kim Sol oversees. Kim Sol instructs Pax to do its job, and Pax responds, indicating it's transporting packaging and requesting he step aside. Kim Sol observes Pax, the robot now efficiently carrying multiple packages through the logistics facility. Whirring, automated drones glide through the facility as Kim Sol stands in the background, surrounded by conveyor belts and boxes. Kim Sol looks around the vast, highly automated logistics center, pondering the unsettling absence of human workers and wondering, how can there be so few people? Looking upwards in thought, Kim Sol concludes that he must have arrived at the wrong place entirely, given the strange environment. 2 months prior, after his military discharge, a younger Kim Sol stands in uniform, enjoying a beautiful day, filled with hopeful anticipation. On a phone call, a surprised Kim Sol learns his parents are moving and used his discharge gift for their new home, questioning why he wasn't told sooner. Despite scholarship support, Kim Sol reflects on his naive hopes for a, quote, pink-colored romance while starting a cafe part-time job, feeling genuinely excited. Reality hits as Kim Sol stands disappointed outside a cafe, having been rejected at the entrance, realizing job hunting was harsher than expected and leading to extreme boredom. Kim Sol lies in bed, feeling utterly useless, lamenting his inability to even get a simple serving job, and his mouth feels dry from frustration. A chat log shows Kim Sol confessing his uselessness to his sisters, who tease him about his early apartment and joke that their mom must have arranged it. His sister, in the chat, mentions that delivery companies now use AI to make work easier, prompting Kim Sol to eagerly ask for the company's name. Whirring, drones fly above Kim Sol in the cold, automated logistics center as he sighs, sensing an utter lack of warmth. Kim Sol remains perplexed, convinced he's in the wrong place, lamenting that his conversation partner is a robot and he never wished for such an easy life. A stern manager Shin receives a report about inaccurate tuna stock from a subordinate, noting Pax indicates some are left. Kim Sol, smiling brightly, assures manager Shin he will handle the remaining tasks, allowing the manager to deal with the tuna stock issue. Kim Sol, suppressing a smile, internally quips that Pax feels warmer and more helpful to him than the manager. Kim Sol walks through the towering shelves of the warehouse, searching for the elusive tuna cans. A soft creak sounds as Kim Sol finds the tuna, realizing he was looking in the wrong section. Kim Sol climbs a ladder, carrying a box, muttering that the tuna should have been on the first floor, explaining his initial difficulty finding it. Bang! A bright, intense light bursts from a closed door in the distance, startling Kim Sol on the ladder. Kim Sol's hand twists a doorknob, which appears to be jammed shut. Kim Sol stares in disbelief at his phone, realizing he's trapped and exclaiming, "This is so stupid. Am I getting locked like this?" Kim Sol frustrates, unable to reach anyone on his phone, and considers calling emergency services. Kim Sol decides against calling emergency services, deeming it unnecessary and worried about making things awkward with manager Shin. Kim Sol resolves to wait, promising to report his predicament if the door doesn't open soon. He then texts his sister about being stuck in the warehouse. Kim Sol gasps in anger as his sister's message appears on his phone, jokingly asking if he's working for an escape room instead of a part-time job. A small, glowing red orb pulsates, emitting a low whirring sound as it floats ominously. Rumble! Kim Sol stares in wide-eyed shock at the strange glowing red orb, exclaiming, "Wait, what?" Thud. Alarms blare repeatedly as a red glow fills the room. Urgent system messages demanding all employees evacuate immediately and take shelter. Bang! Kim Sol frantically pounds on the locked door, shouting, "Hey, I'm here! There's people here!" as the door clicks. Kim Sol, panicking, attempts to call emergency services on his phone. Click! Kim Sol groans in despair, utterly confused as to why a war would suddenly be happening now. Bang! Thump! The door vibrates violently, emitting flashes of red light as something powerful hits it from the other side. Tremble! Kim Sol's hand hovers, instinctively knowing a horrifying truth in that moment. Shriek! A monstrous scream echoes, and Kim Sol understands that making any sound will lead to his death. Kim Sol sweats profusely, his eyes wide with terror, the horrifying realization settling in. It's definitely not a human. Whir, bang, rumble. Kim Sol sits against the door, exhaling, as violent sounds from beyond the door continue to erupt. Clink. Kim Sol closes his eyes, appearing to quietly eat from a tuna can. Munch. Kim Sol sits on the floor of the chilling warehouse eating tuna from a can, acknowledging he's been trapped for 3 days. Kim Sol sighs, still stuck in the warehouse, looking at his phone. Thud. Kim Sol leans back, wondering about the strange situation, noting the warehouse is quiet without the alarm. Kim Sol looks up, his attention caught by a glowing blue, holographic display appearing before him. The holographic display, titled open bracket, my own subspace, close bracket, offers a description. You can store an object in front of you in the subspace. Number of uses, 1. Kim Sol's eyes are wide with disbelief, concluding he has finally lost his mind and can no longer distinguish between fantasy and reality. Kim Sol grins, finding his 3-day survival impressive, and humorously decides to store the entire PAX fulfillment center in his new subspace. Kim Sol experiences a sudden, powerful surge of energy, with light emanating from his body. Kim Sol, looking disoriented, kneels on barren, rocky ground in a desolate, otherworldly landscape. Kim Sol remains kneeling in the desolate area, gazing towards a distant, ruined cityscape, as a figure lies prone nearby. Ping! A blue holographic display announces, "Storing starting," causing Kim Sol to clutch his mouth in a reaction of surprise and possible nausea. Kim Sol is on the ground, seemingly sick, as a system notification confirms and, quote, "Operating system suitable for your system has been found." A blue holographic display shows update progress 6%, while Kim Sol grimaces, complaining of a sudden headache. Kim Sol kneels and looks down, pondering the nature of his shadow on the desolate ground. A close-up reveals a monstrous, bloodied maw with sharp teeth, followed by a full view of a large, muscular orc with glowing red eyes. Kim Sol stares wide-eyed in absolute shock as the monstrous orc's hulking form looms behind him. Kim Sol, still visibly shaken, tries to compose himself and calm down. Kim Sol looks down, reflecting that the loud roar was the same one he heard 3 days ago, noting that, whatever it is, it seems to be passing through without agitation. Kim Sol screams in sheer terror, reaching out his hand and frantically begging for help as he runs from an unseen threat. Monstrous orc, its jaws wide and eyes glowing red, lunges forward with a terrifying roar, blood staining its face. Roar! Kim Sol screams in raw terror as the monstrous orc, its chest gushing blood, charges relentlessly towards him. A sharp, blood-soaked weapon pierces a large, shadowy figure, indicating a violent impact. Kim Sol looks utterly shocked, questioning why an orc is wandering around and why it's pursuing him so quickly. Kim Sol runs desperately, pleading for the orc to stop, fearing it will catch him if it continues to pursue him at that speed. Kim Sol, looking determined, makes a crucial decision, stating absolutely as the monstrous orc closes in from behind. A monstrous, clawed hand reaches for Kim Sol, who looks back with wide eyes, realizing it is too late to escape. Kim Sol screams in alarm as a brilliant blue energy blast erupts behind him, engulfing the scene in light. Kim Sol stands with glowing blue lines around him, his hands clasped, adopting a ready or defensive posture. Kim Sol looks on in surprise as the massive orc, enveloped in a shimmering blue energy field, stands menacingly before him. Kim Sol questions why the orc cannot enter, and a system voice confirms that it is indeed unable to pass. A system notification explains that Kim Jong-gyum, as the master of this subspace, controls all entry and exit for living things, objects, and energy as Kim Sol looks at a large, flat disk. Kim Sol stares in disbelief at the system's explanation, with the menacing orc still clearly visible but unable to cross the barrier. Kim Sol stands in the middle of a vast, meticulously clean and empty logistics warehouse, which is now pristine and bathed in a serene blue light. A bright blue, swirling sphere of energy pulsates intensely within the silent space. A warning message about supporting the website is displayed, while a drone floats prominently in the foreground of the logistics center. Kim Sol observes the now pristine logistics center, where multiple drones and small robots efficiently transport packages operating within his subspace. The man previously seen in the ruined city, along with a box and a drone, represents the Apocalypse Logistics Center. Ping. A system message announces a reward of 1 mana stone for completing the tutorial, as Kim Sol looks surprised at the glowing blue stone appearing in his hand. Kim Sol holds the sparkling mana stone in his hands, gazing at it curiously and questioning what it is. Kim Sol stands holding the mana stone, seemingly in a simulation, as the monstrous orc charges towards him from behind. A close-up shows the monstrous orc's face, eyes glowing red with intense rage and aggression. Kim Sol confirms whether the orcs truly cannot enter, and the drone responds affirmatively, assuring him they cannot. Kim Sol examines the holographic display, noting the shipping speed, single shipment limit, and size limit, questioning what the information means. Kim Sol observes the holographic display, noticing a timer indicating, quote, 2 minutes left until maintenance, wondering if the logistics center only has that much time remaining. A drone floats next to Kim Sol, who receives confirmation that his mana stone can maintain the subspace facilities. Kim Sol is informed that his single mana stone can power the entire facility for 24 hours, prompting him to question if such a small item can truly provide so much energy. The system explains that when the PAX fulfillment center was stored in his subspace, its energy supply was modified to run on mana stones. Kim Sol wonders if PAX has become smarter, questioning whether this entire situation is even possible, or if he's merely imagining things. Glowing drones float in the now active subspace as Kim Sol looks up, realizing the electricity supply in the outside world has been cut off. The system explicitly states that the energy supply to the facility has been disconnected. An illustration showcases various fresh and prepared food items, introducing PAX Fresh as a delivery system for food, maintained in frozen and refrigerated conditions. Kim Sol reflects that the outside world is a war zone where food is crucial for survival, while the menacing orc remains visible behind him in the background. Kim Sol, standing near a drone, realizes the power to the food storage units has been cut off. He asks PAX to confirm if 1 mana stone can maintain the facility for 24 hours, and PAX confirms it. Kim Sol ponders whether the monstrous creatures are beings of another world, looking thoughtfully into the distance. Kim Sol continues to ponder the origins of the beings from another world, his gaze fixed on the menacing orc. Ping! Kim Sol, holding the mana stone, instructs PAX to maintain the facility with it, and a system notification confirms 1 mana stone has been used. Kim Sol asks the system if he can still search for items, and the system confirms he can, prompting him to specify what he needs. Kim Sol looks around, contemplating his options as various weapons, including knives, are seen floating. Kim Sol identifies a camping hand axe, a folding steel knife, and a kitchen knife as potentially useful items, with their prices displayed. Kim Sol considers throwing the items since it's difficult to get close enough to swing them, but notes the limited stock. Kim Sol questions the effectiveness of the blades, wondering if they can even penetrate the monstrous orc's immense muscles. Kim Sol, holding an axe, observes the orc still trapped by the barrier, concluding it will remain there until he exits the subspace. Kim Sol decides he doesn't need to defeat the orc instantly, believing he can inflict a serious wound now and deal with it later. Kim Sol, gripping an axe, encourages himself as Special Forces Kim Jung-yam, resolving to wound the orc and go for it. The monstrous orc, with glowing red eyes, lets out a fierce, bloodied roar, its face contorted in rage. The monstrous orc roars intensely, its massive form still contained within the shimmering blue energy barrier. Kim Sol stares, holding an axe, frustratedly questioning the incredible toughness of the orc's muscles that make it so hard to damage. Kim Sol laments that his dagger only leaves a scratch, wondering how he can effectively damage the orc. A camping axe is highlighted within a box of tools, as Kim Sol concludes that only a heavy axe might be able to make a dent. Kim Sol asks Pax to check the remaining stock of the camping hand axe as a robot stands nearby. Kim Sol ponders switching strategies to throwing heavy objects like a bowling ball at the orc's joints if sharp weapons are ineffective. Kim Sol stands bewildered in the warehouse, questioning why the items around him are duplicating. Kim Sol learns that items in the subspace are generated by converting real objects into information, which is why they can be duplicated. The system explains that while the items can be damaged, they cannot be depleted, as multiple identical axes are shown. Kim Sol, holding an axe, asks in disbelief if this means the logistics center now has an infinite supply of stock. Kim Sol, with an axe in hand, realizes he can freely throw the weapons at the roaring orc without worrying about them running out. Kim Sol expresses concern that his shoulder might give out from manual throwing before the monster finally dies, as a drone floats by. The system informs Kim Sol that manual throwing is unnecessary, as products can be automatically shipped outside the subspace, though shipping is limited to once every 30 seconds and can be enhanced. Kim Sol asks how to use this shipping skill, and the system explains he simply needs to think of a registered product and say ship. Kim Sol says ship, and a powerful blue energy blast erupts, hitting the orc from within his subspace. A drone swiftly moves into position, demonstrating the initial speed of the automatic shipping system. Kim Sol expresses surprise at the speed of the drone, which is confirmed to have a default shipping speed of 60 kilometers per hour. Kim Sol realizes that the shipping speed information he saw earlier on the holographic display referred to the drone's actual speed. The system confirms that the shipping speed can be adjusted up to 75 kilometers per hour, but further increases require skill enhancement. Kim Sol asks how to enhance the shipping skill, and the drone informs him that mana stones are required for the upgrade. New item options are displayed, including, quote, lightweight combat boots with their price, indicating Kim Sol is considering protective gear. Tactical combat pants are displayed with their price, suggesting Kim Sol is equipping himself for survival outside the subspace. Kim Sol stands, now wearing tactical combat gear, looking towards a bright light, ready to face the world outside. Kim Sol examines a detailed map of the Seoul metropolitan area and 12 color permanent markers preparing for navigation. Kim Sol marks the Gwangjin district and Gangnam district on the map with a blue circle, indicating his planned route or target areas. Kim Sol continues to mark the Dobong district on the map, meticulously planning his movements. Kim Sol sits contemplating the map, wondering about the optimal order to visit the nearest districts, starting from Gunpo. Kim Sol looks determined, expressing a need to hurry to reach his family and friends, hoping they are safe as he departs from Gunpo. Kim Sol acknowledges the long distance he must travel, but is confident in his chosen means of transportation, even if it's not a car. An electric bicycle, the Dualton Kodiak Sports electric bicycle, is displayed, revealing Kim Sol's surprisingly high-tech mode of transport. The image reveals a cityscape in an apocalyptic glow, with text proclaiming the youngest is coming soon, hinting at a new character or development. Kim Sol rides his electric bicycle away from the subspace, heading into the desolate, war-torn landscape. 30 minutes after leaving the subspace, Kim Sol rides his bicycle through the ruins, having already killed 12 orcs. Kim Sol turns in shock as a monstrous orc charges directly at him, its face contorted in a furious roar. Kim Sol, on his bicycle, uses a blue energy shield to block the charging orc's attack, pushing it back. Kim Sol is thrown from his bike as he unleashes a powerful blue energy attack directly at the attacking orc. An enraged orc glares, and Kim Sol reflects on how powerful the ability he used against it truly is, a realization gained while fighting orcs. A powerful blue energy blast courses through the orc's open maw, indicating a direct hit from Kim Sol's ability. Kim Sol observes the devastating blue energy impact, concluding that his new ability is incredibly overpowered. The monstrous orc growls, grrrr, its red eyes burning with rage and visible wounds on its body. Kim Sol, standing near a holographic display showing a timer, expresses frustration at having missed his target again, despite the orc being contained by the barrier. The system explains the limitations of the shipment ability, noting its short range and cooldown, but reveals it can be upgraded with mana stones. Russell, monstrous orc appears, as a new revelation suggests Pax's abilities extend beyond mere shipping. A bloodied axe drops from the sky, plummeting toward the monstrous orc. The axe retracts as the system explains the, quote, product retrieval ability, which automatically brings back dispatched items. A hand glows with blue energy, retrieving something amidst a splatter of blood. Kim Sol stands within a swirling blue energy circle, confirming that product retrieval is as convenient as the shipment ability. Kim Sol, still bearing battle marks, realizes that normal items like axes do not require retrieval. Kim Sol stands over a defeated monster, observing a glowing mana stone that can also be retrieved. Ping! Kim Sol collects another mana stone, receiving a system notification that confirms his collection of 13 mana stones. Kim Sol observes a drone, understanding that product retrieval brings items back, and questions if mana stones from defeated monsters are now his, likening it to collecting money. Kim Sol reaffirms the safety provided by the subspace, determined to quickly bring his family there. Screech! Kim Sol is engulfed in blue energy, reacting to a loud, ominous shriek. Kim Sol looks up, a winged creature silhouetted against the bright full moon. Screech! A massive winged creature lets out a piercing cry against the backdrop of the moon. Kim Sol expresses surprise at encountering a winged orc-like creature, realizing it will be a difficult hunt. Screech! Patter! Kim Sol questions if he's imagining the multiple, loud screeches surrounding him. Kim Sol reacts with shock to a desperate "help" cry, realizing it's a human scream. Mr. Choi stumbles backward, his face contorted in terror as he attempts to escape. Kim Sol urgently calls out to Mr. Choi, who looks up in pure terror as red energy crackles. Ah! The winged monster descends rapidly, causing Mr. Choi to scream in fear. Mr. Choi is violently sent flying backward, blood splattering from a powerful impact. Ooh-ah! Mr. Choi collapses onto the ground, with the winged creature looming ominously above him. Kim Sol rushes towards Mr. Choi on his electric bicycle, urgently asking if he's all right and telling him to get up, as the winged monster observes. Mr. Choi lies injured and seemingly overwhelmed on the desolate ground. Mr. Choi stares wide-eyed in terror, groaning as the monster's skeletal form hovers behind him. The monstrous winged creature glares down with its sharp teeth, enveloped in a glowing pink aura. Kim Sol faces the towering winged monster, bewildered as to why it isn't attacking him. Kim Sol, puzzled, questions why the monster isn't attacking him while Mr. Choi lies injured nearby. Kim Sol looks distraught as he shockingly realizes that Mr. Choi was the monster's intended target. The winged monster screeches, its glowing red eyes fixated on the terrified Mr. Choi. Kim Sol realizes the monster is targeting Mr. Choi because he's perceived as an easier prey, leaving Kim Sol frustrated and unsure how to intervene. Kim Sol grips a small knife, pondering how to distract the monster and whether such a tiny weapon can be effective. Kim Sol's hand performs a swift action on the knife, activating something with a click. Kim Sol stands ready, having launched the knife, which emits a bright, streaking light as it flies. Mr. Choi, still injured, hears an unfamiliar sound and questions what it could be, unaware of the monster behind him. Blood splatters across the ground as Kim Sol and Mr. Choi stand in the background, hinting at a recent violent impact. Mr. Choi looks up with a shocked expression, startled by something unforeseen. Kim Sol has struck, with the axe now deeply embedded in the winged monster's neck, emitting a powerful light. Kim Sol approaches the slain winged monster with an axe in its head, as the other man questions if he truly killed a wyvern with just an axe. Kim Sol approaches the group on his electric bicycle, asking if they are okay before adjusting his bicycle's light. Kim Sol dismounts his electric bicycle, reiterating his concern for everyone's safety. The two men stare, bewildered, questioning if the figure before them is a soldier or merely someone on a bicycle. The two men are utterly shocked, questioning how Kim Sol killed a wyvern by throwing an axe while riding a bicycle. One of the men addresses Kim Sol directly, asking if he is a soldier. The two men express immense gratitude to Kim Sol for saving their lives, to which he replies that he is simply glad they are safe. Kim Sol clarifies he is not a soldier, pointing to his PAX FC uniform as proof. The man confirms Kim Sol is a PAX FC employee, expressing surprise at his unusual skills, especially killing a wyvern while cycling. Kim Sol reveals he has awakened a humble driver ability, which he hasn't had a proper chance to use yet. The man laughs, expressing envy for Kim Sol's awakened ability, and feels fortunate they received help in such a perilous area. The man explains that Block C, a logistics center, became a gathering point not only for people, but also for monsters. A man surveys the grim scene of numerous dead bodies, reflecting that most are gone, brutally attacked, killed, and eaten alive. A man explains they were searching for a road and supplies when their building suddenly vanished, leaving them isolated without vehicles. The man invites Kim Sol to join them in their safe spot on the 4th basement floor, assuring him it's monster-free and he can rest comfortably. Kim Sol ponders whether to accept the offer, especially intrigued by the mention of vehicles and hoping it implies a functioning one. Kim Sol realizes he needs information, particularly about working vehicles, as he approaches the two men. Thud! Kim Sol, despite not fully trusting them, accepts their offer, expressing thanks, while the man jokes about Kim Sol having saved their lives. The man states that helping Kim Sol is the least they can do, and Kim Sol thinks about the mutual risk they are all taking. Pack! A mana stone glows with intense energy before shattering into light, signifying its powerful use or destruction. Kim Sol stands with the group, a faint glow hinting at his hidden ability, thinking they remain unaware of his true powers. A dead monster lies on the ground, bleeding from a deep wound, confirming it was easily dispatched and not a serious threat. Kim Sol, holding a staff, stands amidst defeated monsters and other survivors in a dark, debris-filled area. Kim Sol's face shows extreme shock and distress, his eyes wide with a palpable sense of horror and realization. An overhead view shows Kim Sol standing over a slain giant monster amidst a scattered group of survivors in the aftermath of a battle. A man questions the chaos before Kim Sol asks if everyone is all right, to which a survivor responds that they are fine. Thud! The man explains that they were fortunate the monster didn't see them, allowing for its easy elimination. The injured man reports that no one is hurt, but grimly concludes that their current location is no longer safe. Kim Sol confronts the man, challenging his previous assertion that this specific location would not be attacked by monsters. One man describes how Kim Sol threw an axe to kill the wyvern, but the axe shattered along with its head, astounding the onlookers about his ability. Man excitedly shakes Kim Sol's hand, thanking him profusely for saving Yongsoo and Byung-kil. Other grateful survivors express their overwhelming thanks to Kim Sol for his heroic actions. Kim Sol humbly dismisses their thanks, stating he only did what was necessary, and another person comments on his kindness. A woman jokingly asks Kim Sol if he has a girlfriend, eliciting a surprised reaction from him and playful exasperation from others. A man laughs, explaining their surprise is because Yongsoo and Byung-kil are like family to them, having worked together for over 10 years. A scarred man introduces himself to Kim Sol, smiling and expressing his pleasure in meeting him. The man thanks Kim Sol again for saving Yongsoo and Byung-kil, introduces himself as Kim Jong-gyom, and welcomes him. Kim Jong-gyom explains their current location, while not completely safe, offers comfort, food, water, and rotating guards, promising a better refuge than outside. Kim Jong-gyom encourages Kim Sol to eat freely, reassuring him they have ample supplies from the logistics center and can always get more. Kim Sol, confused by the mention of the logistics center, notices the group's astonished expressions as they confirm it disappeared without a trace. Mr. Choi stares in shocked disbelief, questioning what disappeared. The man confirms that the logistics center literally vanished, explaining it was the reason they were being chased by the wyvern. The group expresses widespread disbelief, questioning how such a massive building could simply disappear without a trace. One man clears his throat, looking at the leader and asking what their next move should be. The center manager resolves that they must dig through the tunnel to escape, as staying will only worsen their situation, urging them to start immediately. A woman agrees that it's time to move on, suggesting they force their way through, and the others echo their assent. Thump. Kim Sul inquires about functioning vehicles. The man explains that vehicles are available everywhere, but the roads are impassable. The man details the blocked roads, a golf course to the north, containers to the east, and the southern expressway completely destroyed. He reveals the tunnel to the west is their only exit, but it's unfortunately occupied by a group of wyverns. Until now, they relied on the logistics center for supplies. Kim Sul informs Kim Jong-kim that he doesn't need to use the tunnel because the roads are only blocked for vehicles, and they can escape on foot or by bicycle. Kim Sul insists that he too needs a vehicle and intends to go through the tunnel. Kim Sul muses that if only wyverns are blocking the tunnel, he can eventually catch them with his ability, despite it taking some time. Kim Sul decides not to reveal his full abilities to the group, noting that despite their apparent kindness, he cannot overlook their desperation. Kim Sul reflects on how the group has struggled fiercely to survive during the time he was trapped. Kim Sul considers that while the group may have stockpiled supplies at the logistics center, they won't disclose the exact amount. Kim Sul acknowledges their caution, understanding that they value food and water too highly to share information easily. Kim Sul accepts their guardedness, realizing he needs to exercise similar caution. Kim Sul plans to scout the tunnel alone to assess the situation and the wyvern's size, intending to use his ability to clear the way. Kim Sul recalls checking enhanced items after the orc fight, noting that 5 magic stones could reduce a cooldown to 5 seconds, wondering about further enhancements. A holographic display presents 2 upgrade options: simultaneous delivery for 2 items for 10 cost, and automatic delivery for designated items with adjustable intervals, also costing 10. Ping! Kim Sul is startled by the quote-quote automatic delivery option, finding the enhancements incredibly good and questioning the 10 magic stone cost for such an ability. Kim Sul smiles, deciding to secretly hunt the wyverns for their magic stones to enhance his abilities and clear the tunnel, while giving the impression he is merely scouting. Kim Sul sits on his electric bicycle, observing Kim Jeongjam, who stands beside him with a puzzled expression. Kim Jong-kim insists it's too dangerous for Kim Sul to venture alone, especially after being chased by a wyvern, but Kim Sul dismisses his concerns. Kim Jong-kim asks if Kim Sul sees system message windows or other interfaces, to which Kim Sul replies he hasn't seen any since his abilities awakened. Kim Jong-kim looks astonished as Kim Sul aggressively maneuvers his bicycle, stating the wind should be joined, not cut. Kim Jong-kim asks Kim Sul why he is driving so strangely, and Kim Sul explains it's because many cars on the road obstruct his view. Kim Jong-kim frantically warns Kim Sul about a wyvern ahead, asking what they should do, but Kim Sul cannot yet see it. Kim Jong-jum urgently tells Kim Sul to wait, still unable to see the unseen threat rapidly approaching. A terrifying wyvern with glowing red eyes is revealed, its menacing presence filling the road. The man, terrified, asks Kim Sul, calling him Jong-yum, what to do, and Kim Sul urges him to keep driving and look ahead. The wyvern slashes downward with its sharp claws, poised to strike. A close-up shows the wyvern's gaping maw, filled with rows of razor-sharp teeth. Kim Sul deftly maneuvers his bicycle to dodge the wyvern's attack, maintaining his composure. Kim Sul realizes the wyvern is much closer than he thought as his bicycle tire skids across the ground. Kim Sul and the man find themselves surrounded by 2 massive wyverns, and the man despairs, believing they are doomed. The man declares their situation hopeless, realizing they cannot overcome so many wyverns, even with electric bikes. The man concludes they cannot outrun or defeat the monsters, believing it's all over for them. The man looks up with a terrified and defeated expression, facing the overwhelming threat. Ping! Kim Sul activates a holographic interface, deciding he can no longer conceal his hidden powers. The interface displays ability upgrade costs, requiring 10 magic stones, with an option to spend 5 more for cooldown reduction. The man questions Kim Sul's sudden actions, confused by the strange PAX display appearing before him. A wyvern lets out a furious roar, its glowing red eyes fixated on its targets. A blur of motion indicates Kim Sul's rapid, decisive action against the monster. The man cries out in pain and shock, his eyes wide with distress. Kim Sol rides his electric bicycle at an incredible speed, enveloped in a bright, powerful aura. Kim Sol and the man stand amidst swirling blue energy as multiple drones manifest around them. Ping, ping, ping. System notifications confirm mana stones are consumed, reducing the cooldown of Kim Sol's abilities. A system message reveals that further cooldown reduction necessitates leveling up the, quote, Subspace ability, shown over a drone. Kim Sol and the man stand ready, surrounded by his activated abilities, as they confront the wyvern. Pak! A mana stone glows intensely within a defeated monster before shattering into light, as a voice calls out to Yongsu. Kim Sol instructs Yongsu to stay close by his side from now on, surrounded by his activated drones. Kim Sol emphasizes that staying close is the only way he can protect Yongsu, who nervously agrees, still questioning the logistics center's appearance. The man shouts a warning as a massive wyvern rapidly descends upon them. The wyvern roars fiercely, its mouth wide open as it charges forward. A powerful, destructive impact violently shakes the scene, scattering debris. A wyvern aggressively attacks, its loud roar accompanying its charge toward Kim Sol and the man, who are shielded by glowing energy. The man recoils in terror, his face contorted in fear as Kim Sol's protective aura swirls around him. A scream of pain erupts as Kim Sol, surrounded by a bright aura, unleashes a direct and powerful strike against the wyvern. Pak! The wyvern is forcefully hit by Kim Sol's glowing attack and crashes to the ground. A wyvern screams in pain as it falls through the air, defeated by Kim Sol's power. The wyvern lets out another pain scream, its mouth wide open as it plummets downwards. The man shouts in desperation, calling out to Kim Sol, Zhang Yom, as a wyvern falls, enveloped in light. The wyvern is violently struck and defeated, its body plunging through the air. A defeated wyvern lies on the ground, its demise confirmed, as Kim Sol stands victorious. The man looks on with a stunned and bewildered expression, reacting to Kim Sol's unbelievable power. The man contemplates Kim Sol's incredible abilities, connecting the disappearing logistics center to his extraordinary PAX-enhanced attacks. Kim Sol stands confidently, radiating a subtle glow, aware that the man is now pondering his true capabilities. The man thinks about Kim Sol's earlier mention of the tunnel, realizing Kim Sol's immense power could easily clear it. The man explains that their insistence on using a delivery vehicle is for carrying food and ensuring safer movement. The man clarifies that the tunnel is only part of the route, with more monsters beyond, but for Kim Sol, Jeongyum, the vehicle is merely a means of transportation. The man expresses envy for Kim Sol's ability, wishing he possessed such power to quickly reach his own family. Yongsu, Kim Sol's companion, wonders how far Kim Sol needs to travel, that he requires a vehicle, while Kim Sol stands lost in thought. Yongsu watches in stunned disbelief as the powerful wyvern, defeated by Kim Sol, unexpectedly flees the scene, prompting Yongsu to question if it's truly running away. Yongsu eyes Kim Sol with a mix of awe and concern, realizing his powers are dangerous, while Kim Sol acknowledges the wyvern's intelligence and his need for more mana stones to enhance his quote-unquote precision delivery ability. Yongsu looks back in astonishment at the shimmering mana stone left behind on the ground by the defeated monster. Yongsu, bewildered, asks Kim Sol about the glowing blue stone, to which Kim Sol responds by questioning if he's never seen a mana stone before. Yongsu, intrigued, asks about mana stones, and Kim Sol explains they are used to enhance his abilities, leading Yongsu to ponder the concept of ability enhancement. Yongsu expresses a desire to try enhancing abilities himself if given the chance, then questions why Kim Sol didn't extract the mana stone from the orc, wondering if abilities differ. Yongsu comments on Kim Sol's surprising ability to launch axes like a gun, then jokingly suggests that with such power, Kim Sol could easily clear the tunnel alone. Kim Sol internally laments that he didn't mean to reveal his full abilities, having only intended to discreetly scout and clear the tunnel if feasible. Yongsu apologizes to Kim Sol for being a burden, but Kim Sol reassures him, admitting he wouldn't have known the way and couldn't have gotten through alone. Kim Sol suggests they head back for now, acknowledging that the wyvern has retreated temporarily but might return to attack soon. Young-soo inquires about Kim-sol's destination requiring a vehicle, and Kim-sol reveals he is heading to Ujeongbu, with Gangnam as the closest point to his family. Young-soo's eyes widen in shock at the mention of Gangnam, as a holographic map highlights various district names, including Gangnam and Indeokwan. Young-soo nervously asks Kim-sol if he would consider going with him to Indeokwan. Young-soo explains that while he is a confident driver, his ability won't protect his family from monsters, making safe passage through the tunnel uncertain. Young-soo stresses that Kim-sol, unlike him, can fight monsters and would be an invaluable driver if their destinations align. Young-soo earnestly promises not to be a burden and offers to provide food, hoping Kim-sol will take him to Indeokwan faster than anyone. Kim-sol considers Young-soo's excellent driving skills, realizing this partnership could provide a convenient excuse to keep his own powerful abilities hidden from the rest of the group. Kim-sol worries about the potential dangers if his abilities become widely known, speculating on what the others might do, especially with Young-soo holding the car keys. Kim-sol concludes that trusting Young-soo is the best approach to avoid wasting time and keep his powers concealed. Kim-sol agrees to Young-soo's request, telling him to drive them to Indeokwan. Kim-sol clarifies that he will clear the tunnel by himself, emphasizing that others would only get in the way and he wishes to keep his abilities concealed. Kim-sol asks Young-soo to communicate with the others and ensure they allow him to handle the tunnel alone, to which Young-soo confidently agrees. Young-soo assures Kim-sol that everyone will cooperate readily if he simply asks them to. Young-soo, beaming with excitement, confidently announces to the rest of the group that they can all make it through the tunnel, then questions their bewildered expressions. Young-soo enthusiastically explains that Kim-sol will clear the tunnel alone using his awakened ability, so they just need to wait outside, urging them not to be curious about Kim-sol's power. Kim-sol is visibly dismayed, internally questioning how Young-soo could reveal his secret so carelessly after being asked to keep it hidden. The onlookers express their astonishment, questioning if Kim-sol will truly clear the tunnel alone, and if their only task is to wait. The director grimly reflects that he's in a bind, seeing Kim-sol as someone to be wary of, and that Young-soo's revelation will only decrease the group's trust in Kim-sol. Kim-sol declares that by tomorrow morning, he will have the tunnel cleared for everyone, affirming they now have no choice but to push forward boldly. Kim-sol internally notes that the group's biggest concern is food, recognizing that clearing the tunnel quickly will alleviate their worries. The director approaches Kim-sol, his expression serious. The director tells Kim-sol he won't inquire about his abilities, believing Kim-sol made this difficult decision out of consideration for the group. The director assures Kim-sol that they will not interfere if non-interference is what helps him, as another man carries a box of supplies. A close-up shows hands holding a cardboard box filled with an assortment of canned goods and bottled drinks. The director explains they gathered some of their reserved food supplies as a gift for Kim-sol, recognizing his risk in scouting and now clearing the tunnel for them. The director thanks Kim-sol for clearing the tunnel for everyone, as Kim-sol reacts with a surprised expression before the director adds, "And..." The director and other members of the group bow deeply to Kim-sol, apologizing that their only offering is their thanks. Kim-sol, flustered, replies that he acted out of necessity and finds their gesture, especially the food, to be too much. Kim-sol urges them to take the food back, saying it must have been saved for their families, and insists he's fine without it. The director insists Kim-sol accept the food, explaining it was difficult for everyone to share and rejecting it would be too harsh. The director reminds Kim-sol that he also has a family, implying he should accept their support for his journey. Silhouettes of people, bathed in bright, hopeful light, look upward with smiles, symbolizing the families they aim to reach. A man prompts the director, asking if it's time to bring out the preparations for clearing the tunnel tomorrow morning. Two hands clink beer bottles together in a celebratory gesture, declaring it's time for a drink. The director raises a bottle, proposing a toast for a safe arrival to see their families tomorrow, as others happily join in the cheer. A bright, sunlit sky with sparse clouds symbolizes the dawn of a new, hopeful day ahead. Kim-sol, mounted on his bicycle, reassures Young-soo to go inside first as he prepares to head towards the tunnel. Kim-sol rides his bicycle down the road towards the tunnel, with the group standing behind him, watching him depart to clear the way. Kim-sol looks forward with determined eyes, ready for the challenge, as the group and vehicles recede behind him in the distance. Kim Sol, on his bicycle, heads toward the imposing tunnel entrance as bright sunlight streams over the mountains. Inside the dark tunnel, shadowy wyverns are visible, suggesting the dangerous environment Kim Sol is about to face. Kim Sol rides deeper into the dark tunnel on his bicycle, glancing back at the dim, monster-filled passage. Kim Sol maintains a focused, pensive expression, deep in thought about the challenges ahead. A chibi boy complains he was hit first, as someone questions if he and his sister are fighting again. The chibi boy laments that his sister always bothers him, while his sister angrily denies picking on him. A man in the middle sighs, scolding the two bickering children for fighting again, despite their previous squabble. Despite pulling each other's hair, the man observes that the fighting children actually seem quite close. The man, smiling warmly, expresses his deep envy of the siblings' bond, having been an only child himself. The man tenderly advises the children that despite current squabbles, they will eventually cherish the preciousness of family. A chibi man reflects thoughtfully, contemplating the true essence of a loving heart. A woman scolds the group for not preparing dinner, questioning why it took so long as the man laughs. The chibi children exchange silent, wide-eyed glances, surprised by the recent turn of events. The chibi boy closes one eye and smiles sweetly, his thoughts drifting to the comforting idea of, quote, family. A group member warns others that the director is at it again, urging them to take the alcohol away from him. The man loudly wails, clutching an alcohol bottle as Kim Sol watches from a distance. Other group members attempt to intervene and stop the wailing man, who is still holding his bottle. The group members, including the director, lie passed out on the ground after their night of drinking. A man groggily awakens, muttering about needing to find a bathroom, as other group members remain unconscious. A man, now fully awake, asks about Mr. Jung-gyam's whereabouts, learning he went out for fresh air earlier. Yang-soo cautiously surveys the dark surroundings near the parked trucks, appearing vigilant. Young-soo explains he can't sleep, while Kim Sol questions his presence, and Young-soo dismisses it as nothing significant. Kim Sol and Young-soo stand beside the bicycle, both looking out. Young-soo expresses awe at the amount of supplies, as Kim Sol explains he intentionally only loaded half the vehicle to manage its weight. Kim Sol announces this is the final vehicle, causing Young-soo to question the implications of it being the last one. Young-soo, surrounded by numerous vehicles, questions in disbelief if Kim Sol filled all 15 with supplies. Young-soo looks surprised, contemplating Kim Sol's generosity in distributing such large amounts of supplies, even with ample stock. A monstrous creature unleashes a swift, powerful attack, marked by a destructive burst of red energy. Multiple wyverns charge forward, only to be repelled by a powerful, expanding blue energy barrier. Kim Sol stands stoically, confronting a massive, roaring wyvern enveloped in a swirling red aura. Kim Sol confidently stands with crossed arms, protected by a glowing blue shield, as wyverns loom nearby. Kim Sol contemplates his desire to transport the people into subspace to bypass obstacles. Kim Sol asks Pax if others can enter subspace, learning it's currently impossible, but future upgrades to level 2 could allow up to 20 people. Kim Sol observes a holographic display, noting he needs 32 more mana stones to upgrade his subspace to level 2. Kim Sol expresses frustration, realizing that with few remaining wyverns and some fleeing, leveling up his abilities will be difficult. Kim Sol resolves to level up his abilities to eventually move his family into subspace, then notes something with a questioning sound. In the dark, a few wyverns are visible, with one soaring ominously through the distant gloom. A large wyvern with glowing eyes lies on the ground, while another flies overhead. A wyvern with piercing red eyes glares menacingly, radiating a powerful presence. Kim Sol's eyes narrow as he identifies the monster before him, questioning if it's truly a wyvern. The group of survivors stands expectantly in front of large delivery trucks, awaiting Kim Sol's return from the tunnel. Two group members discuss Kim Sol's solo mission, deciding it's best to wait, rather than risk interfering and worsening the situation. An older man excitedly points out that Mr. Jung is returning, prompting another to quickly ask for his location. Kim Sol's white shirt is heavily splattered with blood, indicating the brutal fight he endured. A female group member stares with wide, concerned eyes as Kim Sol approaches, possibly reacting to his bloody appearance. Kim Sol rides his bicycle forward, his blood-stained shirt a testament to the brutal battle he just fought in the tunnel. Wow! Kim Sol rides his bicycle toward the cheering group, who wave their arms in excited celebration of his return. The director addresses the group, thanking them for their hard work and wishing them a safe and injury-free journey home. A group member expresses gratitude to the director and extends well wishes for his own safe return home. The director smiles warmly, acknowledging the group's well wishes and the successful tunnel clearing. Kim Sol, stained with blood, advises that he's prepared a gift in the cargo hold that might be helpful if they encounter trouble. The director, surprised, questions if Kim Sol is referring to a gift as he and others look on. With a bright sky overhead, a large truck signals a hopeful departure as a voice exclaims they should hurry back to their families. An overhead view reveals the highway ahead is completely blocked by abandoned and damaged vehicles near a tunnel entrance. A large truck begins to drive towards the tunnel, slowly navigating the treacherous road. Trucks cautiously proceed along the damaged and debris-strewn road. An aerial perspective shows the convoy of trucks moving along a winding, elevated roadway. Kim Sol, inside the truck, reflects on the unusual wyvern he encountered, noting it was too fast to properly observe. Kim Sol muses that the creature was certainly a wyvern, but its larger size suggested it was different. Kim Sol continues to ponder if the creature was a leader or an adult wyvern, appearing deeply thoughtful. The driver of the truck, startled by a sound, questions what it is while Kim Sol looks out. The truck passes through a devastated urban landscape, littered with debris and signs of violence. A fallen soldier's body lies beside a damaged vehicle, indicating the grim reality of their path. Kim Sol internally acknowledges they have no choice but to push forward, as overturned vehicles and bodies block every route. He reflects that the dire situation is consistent everywhere, and Young-soo could face even greater difficulties. Kim Sol grimly notes that the sight of soldiers' bodies left on the streets signifies the situation is far worse than anticipated. A large wyvern attacks a prone figure on the ravaged city streets, confirming the pervasive danger. Kim Sol, looking pensive, wonders if things would be different if his military discharge hadn't been delayed, as Young-soo addresses him as Mr. Jung. From inside the truck, a barbed wire barrier is visible, blocking the road ahead. The road ahead is completely impassable due to numerous wrecked and blood-stained vehicles, confirming the blockage. Kim Sol observes that the barbed wire barricade was likely placed by the military to block something specific. Kim Sol suggests finding another route, mentioning a bridge, then suddenly pauses with a new idea. Kim Sol points out monstrous figures at the end of the bridge, revealing what the military was likely trying to contain. A massive, red-skinned monster with glowing eyes charges, radiating a powerful presence. Kim Sol identifies the monsters, realizing the military's purpose in blocking the road, and considers that defeating them could level up his subspace while the driver attempts to turn around. The truck remains near the barbed wire, with the men inside deciding their next move. A narrow path on a bridge is visible, flanked by blocked roads, posing a challenge for passage. Kim Sol tells Young-soo to stop and asks if the vehicle can travel on the narrow sidewalk beside the road. Young-soo confirms that while tight, the truck should be able to navigate the sidewalk. Kim Sol confidently states he's found a way through and there's no need to turn back, raising his hand. Kim Sol, beaming with confidence, declares they will proceed in a different direction, glowing brightly. Kong Kwang, a powerful figure, attacks red-skinned monsters with explosive force, sending them flying. Kwang. The powerful figure continues to unleash destructive force upon the attacking monsters. KRRK. The figure delivers another devastating blow, causing more monsters to recoil. Close-up on the snarling red monsters as a powerful impact tears through them. Streaks of energy erupt from the truck, tearing through the air, signifying a powerful attack. Mr. Jiangjam looks bewildered, questioning Kim Sol's plan and his intention to cross the dangerous bridge. Kim Sol confirms his decision to cross the bridge, asserting it will be easier than expected. Kim Sol asks about a space war strategy game called Stark, and Yong-soo confirms his generation is familiar with it. Yong-soo explains his favorite Stark map involved fending off monster swarms using limited units and terrain. Yong-soo remarks that their current predicament closely resembles that challenging game map. Kim Sol instructs Yong-soo to reverse the vehicle back to a specific spot near the barbed wire. The truck backs up as a burst of light erupts from its rear, indicating Kim Sol's ability activation. Ting, tirung, debris and shockwaves erupt from the impact of a powerful force emanating from the truck. Prong, multiple red-skinned monsters roar in reaction to the sudden impact. Kim Sol commands Pax to use all resources to strengthen his abilities. DDIRING, a system notification appears, confirming 5 magic stones were consumed to increase shipping speed to 100 kilometers per hour. Kim Sol, enveloped in a blue aura, challenges any remaining monsters to come forward. Kim Sol stands before the truck, illuminated by a blue glow, and declares it playtime as he prepares for battle. Several red-skinned monsters charge forward, ready to engage in combat. DDIRING. A system notification displays the price of a double-door refrigerator, now available for purchase. Kim Sol plummets through the air amidst shattered debris and explosions, facing an unknown danger. Powerful impacts tear through the cityscape as Kim Sol continues to strike down the monstrous figures. Tiring, Kim Sol grins triumphantly as a notification confirms he has obtained 12 magic stones. He muses that while he enhanced precision delivery for the axe, it doesn't track targets completely, showing an axe hurtling through the air. He observes that even a fast-flying axe can be dodged by the charging red monsters, highlighting their speed. He notes the monsters relentlessly charge forward, undeterred even when their own kind fall beside them. He considers the monster's charging speed is too great for his axe, given his current shipping interval. Red monsters are violently thrown back as they collide with a large, solid object launched by Kim Sol. A monster is sent flying, and Kim Sol realizes the sheer weight of his projectiles is enough to take them down with just a graze. Kim Sol watches as another object strikes a monster, noting that his enhanced automatic shipping ability is incredibly convenient. Kim Sol, surrounded by a blue aura, confidently tells Pax to keep holding on, indicating his continued control. Crank! A monstrous red creature roars aggressively, ready for battle. KRK, Kwang! A large, rectangular object is launched with immense force, sending shockwaves through the air. The truck driver stares wide-eyed in the rearview mirror, startled by something in the reflection. The driver, aghast, wonders why Kim Sol is launching refrigerators and questions his perceived limitations, believing he could only throw axes. Bloody refrigerator units litter the road as the driver ponders how a logistics center could possibly have so much stock. The driver speculates if the stock is new products being retrieved, while acknowledging that axes were reused but the refrigerators make no sense. The driver's eyes widen in disbelief as Kim Sol, now appearing in the background, asks him if he would like something to eat. The driver leans back, internally questioning if Kim Sol's stock of items is, in fact, infinite. Kim Sol explains he collects the items not for reloading, but to clear the road and prevent injury, understanding the driver's confusion. The driver, now sitting up straight, asks Kim Sol what he would like to eat, offering to get him something. Kim Sol, inside the truck which is passing by barbed wire, requests a Coke Zero and a donut. The driver smiles, expressing his surprise that Kim Sol would offer to share food, given his unknown abilities. He then asks if Kim Sol returned from tunnel patrol, to which Kim Sol affirms. Kim Sol thanks the driver for trusting him, stating he's grateful and offers anything needed, implying he has ample supplies in the truck. The driver politely declines. The driver happily remarks that thanks to Kim Sol clearing the monsters, he should be home in about an hour after crossing the bridge. Kim Sol notes this means he'll see his family soon. The driver smiles, hoping nothing has happened to his family, and urges Kim Sol to stay safe on his journey. The driver points out Kim Sol's bloody state, suggesting he can't show up to his family looking like that. Banjak. Kim Sol puts on a pair of sunglasses, the sun glinting off them, seemingly transforming his appearance. Kim Sol states his sunglasses are durable and declares they should leave immediately. Kim Sol stomps his foot down with force, preparing for swift action. The truck barrels through the debris-strewn road, clearing a path forward. The truck continues its rapid journey across the bridge, leaving a trail of dust. The driver tightly grips the steering wheel, urging Mr. Jonghyun to hold on, promising they'll reach the destination in just 20 minutes. The truck speeds onward, kicking up a large cloud of dust and debris from the road. The truck appears small in the distance as it rapidly traverses the devastated urban landscape. A voice announces their arrival at a severely damaged building. The speaker notes that the building's poor condition is simply due to its age, not monster damage. He observes that the surrounding buildings are equally old and damaged, but there are no corpses here like on the main street, which is a relief. Young-soo optimistically states his family will be safe, and he just needs to enter the door. Young-soo's hand trembles as he reaches for the door, contemplating the simple act of pressing the number and entering. He reflects on how hard Young-soo pushed the accelerator, covering an hour's distance in less than 20 minutes, clearly eager to see his family. Young-soo's expression darkens as he grapples with the terrifying thought of finding a cold corpse behind the door, realizing he might not have the resolve to open it. Tag! Kim Sol gently places a hand on Young-soo's shoulder, thinking how he would wish someone else opened the door if it were him. Kim Sol offers to press the doorbell for Young-soo instead, showing understanding and compassion. Young-soo's foot is visible, while the narrator states that no one wants to confirm their family's death, even with a tiny chance of survival. He thinks that if it were him, he'd prefer someone else open the door, or he would simply delay the inevitable forever. Kim Sol reaches for the door, asking Young-soo for permission to open it. Young-soo's wife opens the door, revealing his daughter, who immediately cries, "Dad!" in excitement. Young-soo's wife stares in utter disbelief and emotion, asking if it's truly him. Young-soo embraces his wife and daughter in a tearful, emotional reunion at their doorstep. Young-soo, overwhelmed with tears of joy, holds his wife and asks how she knew he was there. His wife, also crying, explains she looked through the peephole after hearing a noise and immediately opened the door upon seeing him. Young-soo embraces his daughter, Jung-gyeom, who cries out that she hates him amidst their tearful reunion. Young-soo introduces Kim Sol as the benefactor who helped him reach home safely. Kim Sol sits on the ground, looking weary and exhausted after his efforts. Young-soo, concerned, asks the weary Kim Sol if he is all right, as he appears unable to rest. Young-soo sits with his son, Jung-gyeom, who asks why his father isn't crying despite the emotional moment. Young-soo looks at a framed photo of an older man, explaining to Jung-gyeom that emotions like affection, gratitude, and regret prevent his tears. Jung-gyeom asks if his father feels more gratitude than sadness, to which Young-soo confirms with a quiet yes. Young-soo tells Jung-gyeom that he now understands the true essence of love, a heart that cares without expecting anything in return. Young-soo advises Jung-gyeom that while he may not understand it now, he will eventually realize that giving and receiving love is never easy. In a flashback, a young Jung-gyeom is playfully chased and hit with a pillow by his sister, Ju-yeon. Ju-yeon playfully strikes Jung-gyeom with a pillow, knocking him backward with a bang. Jung-gyeom dramatically complains to Ju-yeon, crying that she hit him too hard and it hurts. Ju-yeon scoffs at Jung-gyeom, calling him a crybaby and asserting she hit him softly with only a pillow. Jung-gyeom yells that he hates his sister and threatens to tell their dad everything. Young-soo, in the present, reflects that, from his perspective, his two children actually get along well despite their playful fights. Young-soo, his wife, and another man laugh together while Ju-yeon and Jung-gyeom continue to play. A pot of simmering stew bubbles warmly, signifying a comforting meal in preparation. At the dinner table, Young-soo's wife tells Ju-yeon to stop using her phone and asks if she has a crush, noting her frequent phone use. Ju-yeon explains that as a middle schooler, friends text each other frequently these days, dismissing her mother's inquiry. Ju-yeon expresses excitement over a brutal fight she's watching on her phone, while her mother questions if she's watching a fight again. Young-soo's wife asks if Sol will attend middle school next year, suggesting he try out the boxing or sports club there. Sol grins, confirming he chose that school specifically because of its boxing club. A young Jung Gyeom looks thoughtful as he considers the idea of attending middle school. Jung Gyeom beams proudly, looking up at a banner celebrating his admission to Young Korean Middle School. Jung Gyeom walks cheerfully with two friends, seemingly enjoying his time at school. A close-up on Jung Gyeom's face shows his eyes sparkling with excitement. Jung Gyeom stands confidently under a bright, clear sky. Jung Gyeom smiles, admitting that despite any initial hesitation, he genuinely likes the school uniform. A powerful punch lands squarely on Jung Gyeom's face, making him recoil in pain. Multiple bullies kick Jung Gyeom while he lies vulnerable on the ground. Jung Gyeom remains on the ground, beaten, as a foot hovers over him, ready to strike again. Another bully prepares to land a punch on Jung Gyeom, his face contorted in anger. Jung Gyeom looks up in surprise as Sol, his brother, intervenes by grabbing the bully's arm from behind. Sol glares intensely, his grip firm on the bully's arm, ready to protect his brother. Sol maintains a stern and determined expression. Jung Gyeom looks on, surprised and bewildered by Sol's sudden intervention. Sunlight streams beautifully through the trees, creating a peaceful and radiant atmosphere. Jung Gyeom, looking terrified, runs from an unseen threat with a shadowy figure close behind him. Jung Gyeom laughs happily with his friends, their faces bright with joy in a sunlit setting. Jung Gyeom excitedly exclaims his success, holding up his phone displaying a web notification confirming his college admission. Juyeon's family celebrates her acceptance into nursing school, expressing their joyous disbelief. Jung Gyeom types on a keyboard, declaring that the time has come for a significant decision. Jung Gyeom looks at another man, asking him to clarify what time has come means, as the other man holds what appears to be money. Jung Gyeom's eyes are wide with surprise and a hint of shock. Yongsoo and his wife, along with Sol, wave goodbye to Jung Gyeom from outside their gate under a bright sky. Jung Gyeom looks ahead with a resolute expression as his family waves to him in the distance. Yongsoo's wife tearfully pleads with Jung Gyeom to return safely and avoid getting hurt. A man encourages a young man in military uniform, telling him not to be discouraged. The young man weeps, tears streaming down his face in despair. Banjak, a man suddenly jolts awake in bed, his eyes wide with surprise. He stares, questioning where he is and whether he might have fainted. He grimaces, remembering Yongsoo's reunion, but struggling to recall his own last hazy memory as a weapon floats nearby. Kim Sol is seated at a sunlit dining table with Yongsoo's wife and daughter, holding an item, seemingly after waking. Yongsoo's wife looks surprised while her young daughter adorably eats, food smudged on her cheeks. Kim Sol remains seated at the table, observing Yongsoo's wife and daughter in the sunlit room. Kim Sol sits on a makeshift bed on the floor, while Yongsoo's wife and daughter are at the table, a thought bubble hanging unspoken. Yongsoo's wife expresses concern, asking if Kim Sol is alright and explaining he suddenly collapsed and slept soundly. Banjak. Kim Sol holds his gleaming axe, his eyes wide, with a perplexed expression as he looks upwards. Kim Sol, looking weary, holds his arm as a small, glowing, hammer-like object floats, questioning how long he was asleep. Yongsoo's wife informs Kim Sol he slept for about 3 hours, which he quietly acknowledges. Yongsoo's wife, with a warm smile, expresses gratitude to Kim Sol, explaining her husband told her how much he helped. She sincerely thanks Kim Sol for reuniting her with Yongsoo, while he humbly acknowledges Yongsoo's reciprocal help. Yongsoo's wife insists Kim Sol eat first, explaining her husband, Mr. Jung Gyeom, wanted to share the meal and hasn't eaten yet. The pot of stew bubbles warmly, filled with kimchi and other comforting ingredients. Kim Sol stares with wide eyes, surprised by the dish, identifying it as conger eel stew. The wife apologetically explains she made the best meal possible with limited ingredients, unsure if it suits his taste. Kim Sol declares it the most luxurious meal, thanking them, while Yongsoo's wife encourages him to enjoy it as they've already eaten. Kim Sol rises from the table, seemingly preparing to move away. Yang-soo urges Mr. Jung-yeom not to leave the room, telling him to go ahead and eat. Kim-sol beams, bathed in a golden glow, spoon in hand, as he looks up in confusion. He experiences a surge of emotion and bright sensation, marveling at the perfectly balanced, sweet, and oily taste of the stir-fried kimchi. The delicious stew looks incredibly appetizing, evoking a comforting and cozy feeling. Kim-sol finishes his meal, satisfied, remarking that he ate very well. He reflects that this was the best meal he had eaten since the world's collapse, or even since leaving the military. He continues his internal monologue, comparing the meal favorably to his own mother's kimchi stew. Young-soo stands, offering to drive Kim-sol to his destination. Kim-sol reacts with surprise as Young-soo explains he and his wife discussed it, believing helping others is crucial. Kim-sol clarifies that Gangnam isn't his final stop. Needing the car longer, Young-soo understands and introduces a condition. Kim-sol clarifies the condition. They travel to Gangnam by truck, and Young-soo will return home using an electric bicycle. Young-soo confirms the electric bicycle exchange for the ride to Gangnam, promising to drive Kim-sol as fast as possible. Young-soo acknowledges Kim-sol's exceptional driving skills for outrunning monsters, but stresses the inherent danger of the situation. Young-soo suggests Kim-sol avoid further risks once he's reunited with his family and secured supplies. Kim-sol appears troubled, questioning Young-soo's reasons for offering help, admitting he doesn't understand. Young-soo scratches his head, looking a little embarrassed, as Kim-sol asks why he is trying to help him. Kim-sol simply states he is trying to return the help he received as much as possible. Kim-sol asserts that they are both, in fact, in the same difficult situation. Kim-sol explains that despite Mr. Jung-yeom's awakened ability, the situation is still hard, and both cling to hope for their families, just like his own tunnel risk. Kim-sol reiterates to Mr. Jung-yeom that he faces the same difficult circumstances. Kim-sol suggests they help each other, then laughs, remarking that it feels presumptuous for him to call it helping. Kim-sol reassures Young-soo not to worry, stating he's not foolish enough to risk his life or family, and would flee if things worsen. Kim-sol announces his departure, tells Mr. Jung-yeom to return if necessary, and waves goodbye. Kim-sol extends his hand, and a small, glowing axe appears beside a shattered truck window. Bon Jack! A car key gleams in the ignition, illuminated by a bright light. Kim-sol steps into the truck, framed by a cracked window and a clear sky. Kim-sol rides away on an electric bicycle, leaving the truck and heading towards mountains under a bright sky. Young-soo tentatively offers the electric bicycle to Kim-sol, asking if he's okay with it. Young-soo confirms understanding Kim-sol's abilities, then states he has his own condition, and asks if Kim-sol understands. Kim-sol outlines his multi-city destination to find his family, and asks Young-soo to accompany him until he finds all of them. Kim-sol explains he cannot achieve his goal alone, revealing that leveling up his subspace will allow him to bring in others, including Young-soo and his family. Kim-sol reiterates that if Young-soo joins him, his entire family will be able to come along and be protected within the subspace. Kim-sol declares that he can now level up his subspace thanks to defeating the monster dogs. Young-soo chuckles in response to Mr. Jung-yeom, Kim-sol, whose hand glows with power. Young-soo confidently adjusts his sunglasses, telling Kim-sol they should depart immediately. Ding! A system prompt asks Kim-sol to confirm spending 100 magic stones to upgrade his subspace to level 2, showing his remaining balance. Ding! The system announces subspace level 2 achieved and states that maintenance costs are being adjusted, leaving Kim-sol slightly confused. Ding! New system messages reveal the upgraded subspace capacity is 20 people, and an additional ability allows storing one item directly in front of him. Kim-sol notes the maintenance cost of 6 magic stones is steep, but decides to check other new abilities later, focusing on more important matters. Kim-sol opens a sparkling portal, and Young-soo, his wife, and daughter appear, stepping safely into the subspace. Young-soo's wife, Young-soo, and their daughter look utterly astonished and wide-eyed at their new surroundings. The family stands in awe within the vast, brightly lit subspace, a massive storage facility stretching into the distance. Kim Sol introduces a friendly white robot named Pax, explaining that it can fulfill any needs, check items, and even deliver them. Kim Sol informs Young-soo's family about a fresh food center within the subspace, making ingredients readily available, much to Young-soo's wife's disbelief. Kim Sol reassures them that everything in the subspace is infinite and can be duplicated, allowing them to use it freely without asking. Kim Sol instructs Young-soo to take a break for about 30 minutes before they leave, as he also needs to check on his abilities. Kim Sol states he is ready whenever they are, encouraging questions, while Young-soo asks his daughter if she wants to play princess, and she happily agrees. Young-soo's wife offers to prepare some snacks, while Kim Sol observes the reunited family. Kim Sol begins examining his new, unlockable features, including a subspace lab and simultaneous shipping. Ding! A system message displays the initial description of my own subspace, level 1, allowing storage of one object directly in front of him. Kim Sol internally explains that his subspace ability allows him to store an object in front of him and access it at any time. He further clarifies that nothing can enter his subspace unless he permits it, as a monstrous figure looms in the background. Kim Sol reflects that his ability now has multiple functions beyond simple storage, such as shipment, which hurls items at 100 kilometers per hour. Kim Sol, casually eating, remarks that his already crazy subspace ability became even crazier after encountering Pax. Ding! A system message reiterates that as the subspace levels up, he can store objects in front of him with a current storage capacity of 1. Kim Sol realizes he can store more than just Pax's food in his subspace, and that there are even more unknown possibilities. He questions the implications of the Subspace Lab unlockable item, which claims to allow combining, separating, and transforming registered items. Kim Sol ponders the profound meaning of a lab that can manipulate items in such a way. He wonders if it means creating new things by combining items, noting the significant cost, but concludes that leveling up his abilities makes them even more incredible. Kim Sol expresses a desire to explore all new features but lacks the necessary mana stones, thus confirming only his basic storage ability for now. Ding! A system message confirms his new storage capacity allows storing one object in front of him. Kim Sol recalls his initial thought that he was losing his mind when he first stored Pax FC, having casually blurted out the command. Kim Sol gazes ahead, wondering if it's truly possible to store absolutely anything in his subspace. With a determined look, Kim Sol dramatically declares his intent to store the Earth. Kim Sol, with an intense expression, commands his power to store it. Kim Sol looks upward, anticipating the outcome of his bold command. Ding! A system notification appears, stating the attempt to store the Earth failed because the target is outside the storable range, causing Kim Sol to sigh in frustration. Kim Sol concedes that he expected it wouldn't work, but confirms it indeed failed, as Young-soo approaches him. Young-soo suggests taking the main road for a better route, and Kim Sol agrees. Kim Sol asks Young-soo why he isn't playing with his daughter as he had planned. Young-soo's daughter is seen sleeping peacefully on a makeshift bed surrounded by toys in the warm, sunlit subspace. Young-soo explains that his daughter felt safe and fell asleep after playing for a bit in the subspace, which Kim Sol acknowledges. Young-soo expresses deep gratitude to Kim Sol, who humbly responds that they are simply helping each other out. Young-soo insists he will do everything he can to help Kim Sol in return, surprising Kim Sol. Kim Sol internally questions why Young-soo's sudden seriousness makes him feel uneasy. Young-soo, wearing sunglasses, proudly states that driving is his primary contribution, and he claims to be faster than anyone. Kim Sol is shown with tears streaming down his face, overwhelmed with emotion. The emotional scene continues with Kim Sol crying as the background transforms into a hazy, dreamlike sky, emphasizing his distress. The vast, distant city below a cloudy, emotional sky suggests a continuing journey through a harsh world, maintaining the somber mood. A damaged building stands under a dramatic, dusty sky as something whistles past. A large truck drives down a desolate, broken road through a ruined landscape. The truck navigates a rough, deserted path, noted to be free of monsters since no people are present. Kim Sol learns this unusual road to Seoul is an undeveloped Bronze Age archaeological site. Yang-soo notes the road is rough but safe, while Kim Sol hopes they reach their destination soon. The journey continues through the desolate city under a dramatic sky, revealing distant military barricades. The road is blocked by military barricades with dangerous spike strips, raising an immediate concern. The men confirm they are indeed military barricades, complete with tire-shredding spike strips. Inside the truck, Kim Sol and Yang-soo wonder if the military is still present, noting a nearby base. They observe military vehicles and weapons in the rearview mirror, but realize the people driving them are not actual soldiers. Kim Sol realizes they've been watched and cannot avoid confrontation, prompting Yang-soo to ask for a plan. Kim Sol tells Yang-soo to hide in a small portal under the steering wheel, reassuring him he'll be fine alone. 3 armed men in military-style gear approach the truck, suggesting they don't intend to kill immediately or they would have shot. Kim Sol calmly observes the 3 armed men approaching their vehicle. One of the armed men expresses disappointment that the truck driver didn't hit the spike strips, as Kim Sol wonders what's happening. The stern-faced man questions Kim Sol, demanding to know what is going on. The armed leader asks Kim Sol if he's a delivery guy and if the truck's contents are his, to which Kim Sol affirms they are. The leader immediately claims the supplies as their own, confirming Kim Sol's suspicion that they are after food and resources. The armed leader menacingly demands to know the source of Kim Sol's supplies. Kim Sol explains that the logistics center's location is inaccessible due to collapsed roads, but offers to bring more supplies if needed. The leader questions the quantity of food Kim Sol possesses, who replies that he brought only a fraction, confirming it when pressed. Another man informs the leader that it's time, surprising the leader. The leader decides they must wrap things up, instructing Taekyung to grab the hood, while Kim Sol ponders what time means. The leader orders Ming-yu to move the truck, stating he will take Kim Sol, leaving Kim Sol confused. A powerful magical force radiates from Kim Sol's clenched fist, glowing with intensity. Kim Sol cries out in pain, indicating he's been hit or affected by a powerful force. Kim Sol falls to his knees in pain as a larger man stands over him, holding a hood, ready to capture him. In a dark, sparkling environment, a voice identifies Seok-jun, and another commands him to be brought in. An interrogator asks if Seok-jun is the man who brought all the food and supplies from the logistics center. Seok-jun lets out a surprise sound, appearing to be in a new, unfamiliar location. Seok-jun is tied to a chair in a room with a military aesthetic, being observed by the armed man. An overhead view reveals the blood-stained floor and a deceased soldier, indicating a violent takeover of the room. Seok-jun silently reflects on the deceased soldier and the implication of being brought in with a hood over his head. The tattooed man, now confirmed as a leader, questions Seok-jun about the food and supplies he brought on the truck. The tattooed man presses Seok-jun for the location of the logistics center, stating he's the only one who can access it. Seok-jun confirms gathering supplies from the Gunpo Logistics Center. The tattooed man praises Seok-jun's cleverness in finding such a supply source, while Seok-jun remains silent. The tattooed man tries to recall the name of the military base they're in, leaning back in his chair. The tattooed man finally remembers the base is called Communications Headquarters. The tattooed man extinguishes a cigarette, admitting he doesn't know the base name as he's exempt from service, as Seok-jun wonders about the situation. The tattooed man tells Seok-jun to wait for someone arriving soon, suggesting it's better to see it for himself, piquing Seok-jun's curiosity. The room is suddenly bathed in an ominous red glow, accompanied by a piercing, wailing sound, shocking the 2 men present. Seok-jun looks out to see several wyverns flying, exclaiming in shock at their presence. A massive wyvern dominates the sky, flying alongside smaller, darker creatures. Seok-jun expresses utter shock at the sight of the giant wyvern, questioning its identity and size. Seok-jun tells the tattooed man that the massive creature almost killed him, despite his perceived strength. The tattooed man recounts his experience fighting the creature, noting that his attacks felt strangely blocked. The tattooed man gestures to a dead soldier, explaining that the military's attempt to fight the monster resulted in their complete annihilation. The tattooed man reveals that the military was recruiting monster fighters, but since the monsters are strong and the military is weak, he decided to take over. The tattooed man clarifies he hasn't killed the soldiers yet and only saved Seok-jun because he seemed knowledgeable, attributing his own poor condition to starvation. The tattooed man states the soldiers will likely die soon anyway, then instructs Seok-jun to go to the logistics center with the kids to get more food. The tattooed man informs Kim Sol that their departure is scheduled for tomorrow morning, promising him a place in their family if he proves himself, stating it would be greatly beneficial for him. Kim Sol silently ponders that this place seems perfect for storing something, as the tattooed man offers protection from powerful monsters. Kim Sol asks the tattooed man if he desires to die, as the man remains seated in a chair amidst a desolate, ruined landscape. The tattooed man looks shocked and questions what he just heard. The ruined cityscape is bathed in the ominous glow of a dramatic, dusty sky. The tattooed man turns his head to look back at the distant silhouettes of armed figures. The tattooed man exclaims in confusion and shock, wondering what just happened, as Seok-jun remains tied to a chair in the background. Seok-jun is seen tied to a chair, slumped over, with fresh blood on the floor beneath him. Kim Sol, in visible pain, wonders if this sudden reaction is a side effect of using his subspace ability, similar to when he stored packs. Kim Sol realizes he needs to quickly cut the connection, seemingly in pain or distress. Kim Sol looks up with a terrified expression, murmuring that something ominous is coming. Wyverns are reflected in Kim Sol's terrified eye as he realizes they are approaching rapidly. Kim Sol gazes up at a sky filled with multiple flying wyverns, with a massive one soaring prominently. A monstrous wyvern roars, its sharp teeth and tongue visible in its gaping maw, against a glowing blue backdrop. The other men flee in a panic, leaving Seok-jun tied to his chair, as one of them shouts to run. The tattooed man angrily shouts at his fleeing comrades, ordering them to shoot the smaller wyverns first before they collectively tackle the larger one. Seok-jun, abandoning guns, resolves to use his own ability to capture the monster, believing it might be possible. The tattooed man curses, enraged at his retreating allies, as a wyvern emits a powerful, fiery aura. The tattooed man charges towards the gigantic wyvern as the ground around them shakes and crumbles from the sheer force. The tattooed man's face is covered in sweat, eyes wide with a mix of shock and fear. The wyvern unfurls its wings, surrounded by an intense, glowing aura. The tattooed man dashes forward amidst glowing energy and debris. The wyvern's large, reptilian eye, with its distinctive yellow iris, stares intently. Kim Sol swiftly pulls the injured Han Hyung-ho through a shimmering blue portal, escaping the menacing presence of the towering wyvern. Ding! A system notification prompts Kim Sol to grant permission for Han Hyung-ho to enter, which he immediately allows. Kim Sol supports the dazed and bloodied Han Hyung-ho, who complains of feeling dizzy after being pulled into the subspace. Kim Sol acknowledges he managed to sneak Han Hyung-ho in during the chaos, but realizes the dangerous after effects of storing items in critical moments must be accounted for. Inside the subspace, Kim Sol continues to support Han Hyung-ho, while the enormous wyvern remains visible through the shimmering portal outside. The wyvern's head is shown in a close-up, its eyes glowing with an eerie yellow light. Kim Sol, still supporting Han Hyung-ho, stares back at the glowing-eyed wyvern, wondering why it's staring at them so intently. The tattooed man throws a punch directly at the wyvern's massive body. The tattooed man angrily curses the wyvern, proclaiming his increased strength and tougher fists due to leveling up. The tattooed man asserts his bravery, distinguishing himself from those who fled, as he continues to fight. The tattooed man, enveloped in a radiant blue energy, delivers a powerful strike as Kim Sol and Han Hyung-ho watch from a distance. Kim Sol, clearly exhausted while supporting Han Hyung-ho, is approached by Jang Yom, who anxiously asks if he's alright. Kim Sol replies that he's fine, but then asks Jang Yom about the identity of the person he's carrying. Kim Sol explains Han Hyung-ho's poor condition from torture, suggesting they lay him on a bed to rest, and Jang Yom offers to help. Han Hyung-ho lies bloodied and unconscious on a makeshift bed, while Kim Sol and Jang Yom stand over him, relieved. Kim Sol observes Han Hyung-ho has no major wounds and questions if gangsters were responsible, to which Jang Yom confirms they claim responsibility. Han Hyung-ho rests weakly as Kim Sol concludes his condition might be due to malnutrition and suggests they feed him upon waking. Jang Yeom points out a newly appeared building, and Kim Sol confirms he was about to ask about its sudden presence. Jang Yeom points out the new building, remarking that it appeared suddenly outside the window. The newly appeared structure is revealed to be a massive skyscraper with South Korean flags, appearing enormous from the outside. Kim Sol, observing the massive structure, notes that it resembles a military base. Kim Sol clarifies he indeed brought a military base into Subspace, but was surprised by its immense size as he was blindfolded upon its capture. Jang Yeom looks confused, then states he has something he needs to check. Kim Sol asks Jang Yeom to watch over Han Hyung-ho for a bit, promising to return soon, and Jang Yeom readily agrees. Jang Yeom, standing alone, gives Kim Sol permission to depart. Jang Yeom gazes after Kim Sol, pondering his intentions behind bringing an entire military base into Subspace. A bicycle wheel spins on a dusty path, indicating movement and the start of Kim Sol's journey. Kim Sol cycles, pondering the endless possibilities of utilizing the military base in Subspace for survival. Kim Sol continues to list the military supplies available in the base, including guns, ammo, explosives, gas masks, and even military vehicles. Kim Sol cycles through the military base, confirming it is the perfect place for survival in an apocalyptic world. Kim Sol reflects that, unlike his logistics center, using the military base will be a hassle due to its size. Kim Sol observes military vehicles and laments that while PAX handles everything in the logistics center, this place is different. Kim Sol muses that guns, ammo, and explosives are scattered, requiring manual retrieval, and the main problem is finding their locations. Kim Sol looks concerned, realizing the military base is far larger than PAX, noting he had no idea of its size while blindfolded. Kim Sol continues to ponder the difficulty of finding and using weapons, as those like Yong-soo lack combat experience. Kim Sol approaches Jang Yeom, who offers to help, and Kim Sol instructs him to grab ammo from the magazine. Kim Sol expresses frustration about the time it will take to retrieve and assemble guns and ammo from the base. Kim Sol considers that military supplies aren't infinite like the logistics centers, requiring cautious use and significant manual effort. A drone appears, correcting Kim Sol's assumptions. Kim Sol is surprised and questions its sudden presence. The drone explains that the subspace is programmed with AI PAX's logistics system, treating the newly added sector as a warehouse. The drone clarifies that a classification system is being applied, allowing items from the military base to be used like those from the logistics center once complete. Kim Sol, on his bicycle, questions if this means rifles and ammo can be duplicated and shipped out like goods from the logistics center. Kim Sol looks shocked and asks for clarification, appearing overwhelmed by the implications. The drone confirms the process is still ongoing, so the items cannot be used yet, as Kim Sol stands by his bicycle. Kim Sol asks the drone for an estimate on the completion time, and the drone replies it's difficult to provide an exact estimate. The drone asks if Kim Sol has specific requests, and he requests rifles, ammo, grenades, vehicles, and fuel. The drone promises to prioritize assigning product codes to Kim Sol's requested items within 10 minutes, and confirms it can block others from ordering them. The drone confirms it will restrict ordering permissions. Kim Sol is pleased but reflects on being cautious about the soldier, despite trusting Yong-soo and his family. Kim Sol expresses relief that weapons and vehicles are ready, hoping the chaotic situation outside resolves itself as a glowing energy sphere appears behind him. Kim Sol stands within a glowing blue portal as two large wyverns loom menacingly before him. Kim Sol observes the wyverns, concluding the situation won't resolve itself due to their sheer numbers. Kim Sol looks determined, believing they cannot escape the large wyvern. Kim Sol clenches his hand tightly, signaling his resolve. Kim Sol and the tattooed man stand near boxes of weapons, with Kim Sol holding a rifle. The tattooed man states he has packed plenty of 10,000-round magazines, instructing Kim Sol to discard jammed guns for new ones. The tattooed man, wearing sunglasses, asks Kim Sol if he knows how to shoot. The tattooed man, holding his rifle, confidently declares there are plenty of monsters to test his reservist skills on. The tattooed man points his gun, confidently stating that seeing is faster than explaining. The tattooed man unleashes a flurry of bullets at a wyvern, with casings and blood splattering around. The tattooed man continues to rapid fire at the wyvern, striking it repeatedly with his gun. Empty bullet casings litter the ground after the intense firefight. The tattooed man is engulfed in a bright light, recoiling from the immense force of his attack amidst scattered debris. The tattooed man wipes sweat from his face, admitting that rapid firing is tough, as Kim Sol stands beside him. The tattooed man and Kim Sol stand within a protective blue energy barrier, observing the defeated wyverns. The tattooed man questions if they have the situation under control. Kim Sol disagrees, stating that it's not over yet, despite the apparent absence of standing wyverns. Kim Sol confirms no wyverns are standing but points out that the large one's body is missing, surprising the tattooed man. Kim Sol and the tattooed man stand inside the glowing energy sphere, surrounded by defeated wyverns, confirming a large one was indeed present. A smaller, dark wyvern with glowing eyes appears, staring intently downwards. The tattooed man looks around, unable to find the large wyvern, wondering if it's cleverly hiding. Kim Sol suggests sending out a remote-controlled toy as bait to lure the large wyvern out if it's waiting outside. Kim Sol explains their strategy. If there's no reaction, they move comfortably, but if the wyvern appears, they can decisively overwhelm it. The tattooed man agrees, noting caution never hurts. Kim Sol declares he has an idea as a red remote-controlled car toy appears under a large, shadowy mass. Kim Sol and the tattooed man operate remote controls, while a humanoid figure lies on the ground near the red toy car. An unseen force bursts through the ground, startling Kim Sol and the tattooed man. The tattooed man looks surprised, realizing the monster was indeed hiding, and comments that the humanoid figure also got a taste of the reserves. The tattooed man recoils in pain, startled by the unexpected attack. The tattooed man confronts a large, menacing wyvern up close. The large wyvern lunges, forcing the two men to swiftly evade its attack. Kim Sol takes aim with his rifle, preparing to fire. Kim Sol aims, and another man urges him to shoot the monstrous creature. The wyvern is bombarded with rapid gunfire, flashes of impact appearing on its tough hide. More bullets strike the wyvern, relentlessly hitting its bodies as the intense barrage continues. The tattooed man reloads his rifle, smoke rising from the barrel after the intense shooting. The red-eyed wyvern unleashes a furious roar, engulfed in a reddish aura. Kim Sol and the tattooed man watch in surprise as the wyvern's head is enveloped in a blue energy sphere. The wyvern's head is trapped within the blue energy, staring out with a bewildered expression. Kim Sol questions how the wyvern is still standing, and if its hide is truly that thick after their assault. The tattooed man realizes their attacks feel blocked, recalling a previous conversation about such a phenomenon. Kim Sol observes the glowing-eyed wyvern, noticing a peculiar hexagonal pattern on its skin. Kim Sol concludes that the wyvern's hide isn't just thick, something unseen is blocking their attacks. The enraged wyvern roars again, its jaws wide open in fury. The wyvern's massive claw smashes the remote-controlled toy car into the ground. Thud. The wyvern looks up, seemingly puzzled by the strange object it just crushed. Kim Sol confidently challenges the wyvern, declaring their limitless power within their protective energy barrier. Kim Sol grins, reaffirming their unrestricted capabilities within this unique space. A powerful blue energy blast erupts, striking the charging wyvern head-on. The tattooed man hurls a grenade, telling the wyvern to accept their powerful attack. The wyvern recoils and screams as the grenade explodes near its head, causing visible impact. A series of powerful explosions ripple through the area as multiple blasts strike the wyvern. Boom! Kim Sol looks exhausted, breathing heavily after the intense combat. Kim Sol complains that throwing grenades was unexpectedly difficult, fearing his shoulder might dislocate, while the tattooed man also looks weary. Ugh. Kim Sol and the tattooed man look up in disbelief as the giant wyvern's glowing eyes stare down at them, seemingly unharmed. The wyvern shakes off the impact from the explosions, its body appearing resilient despite the barrage. Kim Sol is shocked that the wyvern only sustained a minor scratch despite the numerous grenades, wondering what kind of monster it is. The wyvern gracefully disappears into a cloud of smoke, vanishing from the battlefield. Kim Sol stares into the dissipating smoke, contemplating the wyvern's sudden disappearance. Kim Sol asks if the wyvern has left, and the tattooed man confirms it appears to be gone. Kim Sol expresses doubt that their attacks caused the wyvern to retreat, hinting at another reason for its departure as a strange blue object remains. Kim Sol suggests they depart now that the wyvern has retreated, then confidently dismisses concerns about driving at night. A military vehicle drives through the quiet, darkened city streets, beginning their journey. Vroom! Kim Sol and the tattooed man sit in the vehicle, both still affected by the shock of their encounter with the massive wyvern. Kim Sol reflects that their grenades barely scratched the wyvern, concluding they are ineffective. Kim Sol ponders what weapons they would need to face a monster even stronger than the huge wyvern. Kim Sol explains that grenades primarily use shrapnel for damage, not the explosion itself, making them inefficient against highly durable targets. Kim Sol considers more powerful explosives, but notes the risk of collateral damage, recalling a vision of Pax launching rockets. Kim Sol worries about massive explosions causing harm to innocent civilians if used in the city. Kim Sol concludes that even powerful bombs might not guarantee a kill, potentially requiring multiple hits and turning them into monsters themselves if indiscriminate. Kim Sol determines the ideal weapon must be powerful like a bomb but without collateral damage, suggesting launching heavy objects or striking at incredible speed. Kim Sol resolves that they must continue upgrading their abilities to become more powerful over time. Kim Sol checks his magic stones, expecting enough for upgrades after defeating a wyvern, revealing 314 available magic stones. Kim Sol is surprised by the sudden display of magic stones. Wait! Kim Sol attributes the large number of magic stones to the wyvern, noting they are not short on them. System notifications confirm upgrades to launch speed and preparation time, funded by magic stones. Ding! More system notifications detail upgrades to simultaneous launch capacity and range using magic stones. Ding! Kim Sol observes the system notification confirming the increased launch range. Kim Sol realizes that with the upgraded abilities and quick launch intervals, his power is becoming insane, despite the increased magic stone cost. Kim Sol looks at the updated display, showing 189 available magic stones remaining after the upgrades. Kim Sol receives a system notification that one more upgrade is available, revealing that 50 magic stones were used to unlock the Pocket Dimension Lab. Kim Sol wonders about the new, quote, Pocket Dimension Lab ability and what it does, deciding he needs to stop the car to test it out. Kim Sol asks the tattooed man, Mr. Yongsu, to pull over so he can check something, and Mr. Yongsu agrees to take a break. The vehicle drives through a darkened city, as Kim Sol notes they are almost in Gangnam. Kim Sol insists on taking the lead despite Mr. Yongsu offering to continue driving due to few monsters, expressing concern about the danger. Kim Sol suggests to Mr. Yongsu that he could simply open a portal and continue moving while inside it, surprising Mr. Yongsu. Kim Sol confirms that his idea works, demonstrating his ability to open a portal while the car is in motion. Kim Sol enters the glowing portal as Mr. Yongsu smiles, assuring him he'll follow if anything happens, and Kim Sol promises to return quickly. Inside the pocket dimension, Kim Sol observes that it's just a different space, with nothing seemingly special about it at first glance. Kim Sol queries the drone about the specific abilities of the Pocket Dimension Lab, learning it can combine multiple objects or separate a single object into its components. Kim Sol confirms with the drone that, quote, combine allows him to register items like a rifle with an attached magazine as a single item, which the drone affirms. Kim Sol then asks if, quote, separate would allow registering a grenade with its safety pin removed, and the drone confirms it, prompting Kim Sol to question if it would explode. The drone explains that items registered in the pocket dimension exist in digital form, preventing physical processes like explosions unless used or ordered. Relieved, Kim Sol instructs the drone to register grenades with their safety clips and pins removed, costing 15 magic stones for the new item registration. Kim Sol muses that while he might not create something to take down a huge wyvern, the new ability is better than nothing, wondering if he should also register a rifle with an attached magazine. Kim Sol considers combining 2 magazines for convenience, but then has a sudden realization about the method. Kim Sol looks surprised as a new idea dawns on him. Kim Sol grins, realizing he can now create a weapon stronger than a bomb, capable of immense power without collateral damage to surroundings. Mr. Yongsu looks out at the road, surprised to see a massive pile of cars blocking their path. Mr. Yongsu questions the unusual sight of stacked cars forming a wall, wondering what could have caused such a bizarre blockage. Kim Sol emerges from his portal, asking if Mr. Yongsu has been waiting long. Mr. Yongsu greets Kim Sol, reporting no monsters but a problem: someone stacked cars, completely blocking the road. The 2 men observe the towering wall of cars, agreeing it won't be easy to break through. Kim Sol reveals he just returned from making a new weapon, surprising Mr. Yongsu. Kim Sol's jeep charges forward, a blue energy sphere glowing, as massive metal cylinders are launched at high speed towards the car wall. Boom! The projectiles strike the wall of cars with explosive force, sending debris and vehicles flying dramatically. Cars are tossed into the air amidst explosions as the powerful impact clears the road. Kim Sol and Mr. Yongsu sit calmly in their jeep, which now rests amidst the scattered debris of the destroyed car wall. Kim Sol and Mr. Yongsu are seen sitting in the jeep, which has successfully cleared the car blockage. Mr. Yongsu stares wide-eyed and speechless at the aftermath of Kim Sol's new weapon. A large, weighty 20 kilograms disc-shaped object sits on the ground, impressing Mr. Yongsu, who wonders what Kim Sol has created. Other survivors look on, surprised and questioning if the car wall collapsed, noting it shouldn't have fallen so easily. The jeep speeds forward with headlights blazing, continuing its journey through the cleared path. Mr. Yongsu and the other occupant of the jeep look back as the vehicle continues moving, leaving the impact site behind. Kim Sol smiles, asking if Nurse Kim Joo-yeon is present. Kim Joo-yeon, identified as the eldest Kim's sister, shouts at 2 unruly children to quiet down. Kim Joo-yeon sighs, telling the children they are making it impossible for her to study for exams. One of the children asks Kim Joo-yeon if she's sick, surprised by her sudden intense studying, and she asks if it's really that surprising. Kim Sol narrates a memory. His sister Joo-yeon, 8 years older, decided to start studying seriously when he was 7, despite others worrying about her health. Kim Jo-yeon tells her younger siblings she has simply found her dream, surprising them. Kim Jo-yeon holds up a book titled The Apple Tree Story, suggesting a deeper meaning to her newfound aspiration. Kim Jo-yeon states, "Even if the world were to end tomorrow, today, I will still treat the sick," revealing her determined dream. Joo-yeon sits at a table, glowing with resolve as she studies, as a younger Kim Sol and his sibling watch her with a mix of awe and concern. Kim Sol's sibling expresses worry about Joo-yeon's worsening condition, suggesting they go to the hospital tomorrow, while Joo-yeon retorts, "Hey." Jo-yeon's academic success led to her getting into nursing school, while a flashback shows the family's joyous celebration. Kim Jo-yeon weeps tears of joy and relief, wondering how her sibling, Jong-yeon, managed to survive. Jong-yeon cries tears of joy, asking if Kim Jo-yeon is hurt anywhere, overcome with emotion at her safety. Kim Jo-yeon embraces Jong-yeon in a heartfelt reunion, expressing her overwhelming gladness that he is alive. Kim Sol introduces the tattooed man, Lee Yong-soo, who helped him, and Kim Jo-yeon thanks Lee Yong-soo for helping Jong-yeon. Kim Jo-yeon tries to offer Lee Yong-soo a chocolate bar, but he politely declines, stating he has had enough chocolate bars to last a lifetime and wants to discuss something more important. Kim Sol announces the presence of a patient, while Kim Jo-yeon looks shocked, surrounded by a faint blue glow. Kim Jo-yeon urgently demands to be taken to the patient, but Kim Sol explains the patient is in a space only accessible through his ability. Kim Sol further explains that entering the subspace requires opening a door, making secret entry impossible and leaving Kim Jo-yeon surprised. Kim Jo-yeon gazes around in astonishment, questioning what this strange space is and if the surrounding structures are part of Kim Sol's ability. Inside the pocket dimension, Kim Joo-yeon begins treating a severely wounded man on a medical bed, observed by Kim Sol and Mr. Yong-soo. Kim Joo-yeon asks Kim Sol about the duration of the patient's critical state, looking worried. Kim Sol explains they recently rescued the wounded man, who had been tortured and was already in poor condition. Kim Sol appears shocked when Kim Joo-yeon declares the wounded man cannot survive, questioning the severity of his injuries. Kim Joo-yeon smiles, proudly revealing she is awakened as a healer, and green light emanates from her hands. Kim Joo-yeon explains her healing level is low, requiring time for recovery and making complete restoration difficult, but assures them the man will not die. Kim Joo-yeon administers basic first aid to the patient, noting that severe malnutrition is a bigger issue than his physical wounds. Kim Joo-yeon seems irritated by the sudden reminder of her past dream, which she had previously declared with determination, while Kim Sol and the tattooed man react in surprise. Kim Sol compliments her story, though finding it a bit long, while a system notification for his subspace, level 1, one item stored, is displayed. A drone with glowing elements flies within the abstract, shimmering space, hinting at the pocket dimension's nature. Kim Sol stands on a golden-lit path in his pocket dimension, holding an axe, surrounded by swirling light particles. A man with a stick stands over a fallen individual as another man recounts the events that led to the situation. Kim Sol asks Kim Joo-yeon if she is listening, and she affirms she is, while eagerly eating from a bowl. Kim Joo-yeon, with food on her face, asks Kim Sol where she left off, and he reminds her about being trapped in the factory and being saved by Pax. Kim Joo-yeon, Kim Sol, and the tattooed man sit around a table in the pocket dimension, where Kim Sol expresses his pleasure that Kim Joo-yeon enjoyed the bread. Another woman, smiling, offers Jung-yeom a comfortable staff lounge, with beds on the first floor for rest, and he thanks her. The woman dismisses Jung-yeom's thanks, stating it was her own choice, and then excuses herself to check on bread in the oven. Kim Joo-yeon questions how the others ended up staying here, then scolds Kim Sol for not listening to her story and refuses to re-explain it due to exhaustion. Kim Sol succinctly states his plan to bring his family into this space and announces he is heading to Yeoljiro to find his second sister. Kim Sol reacts with surprise as Jung-yeom firmly declares he is staying at the hospital. Kim Sol asks if Jung-yeom is staying due to an overwhelming number of patients, and Jung-yeom confirms over 300 people are gathered, many requiring constant care. Jung-yeom explains that other nurses can handle the patients, implying that the real issue is something else entirely. A man discusses how a loud crash broke the wall, believing it was caused by a car, and questions if there were two individuals involved. The man confirms that one of the two who entered the hospital is rumored to be Nurse Kim Joo-yeon's younger brother, pondering this information. The man speculates that the new arrivals simply need food and shelter, suggesting they can ration the food or exploit Kim Joo-yeon. The man, with a sinister smile, asks a muscular individual if he believes the newly awakened people are stronger than him. The muscular man, with a serious expression, dismisses the idea, stating it is unlikely the awakened are stronger. The man instructs the muscular individual to warmly welcome the newcomers for now, acting as if extending kindness, and the muscular man agrees. The man asks if the broken wall has been patched up, and a subordinate confirms it has been blocked even higher, this time with a pile of cars. Kim Sol expresses disbelief at the idea of people changing overnight due to poisoning, insisting there's no other logical explanation. Kim Joo-yeon, still eating, confirms Kim Sol's understanding that department head Jin Sang-hak used his ability to poison and control people. Kim Jo-yeon explains that most awakened, except for her, have been taken over and are guarding the food and mana stones, while Kim Sol reminds her to swallow her food. Kim Jo-yeon reveals she has been secretly collecting mana stones to strengthen her ability, hoping to level up and cure the poisoned people. Kim Jo-yeon tells Kim Sol, their mother and father, to leave first, as she plans to find a way to survive and eventually cure everyone here. Kim Jo-yeon sternly asks Kim Jong-yeon what he overheard, appearing angry while he looks distressed. Kim Sol confidently states he will quickly resolve the situation with the person controlling the food, telling Kim Jo-yeon to watch him closely. Kim Jo-yeon looks exasperated, commenting that Kim Sol seems to be reverting to his middle school phase as he insists on immediate action. Several large crates are enveloped in a swirling blue energy field, indicating an ability being used. Kim Sol manipulates several boxes of supplies floating around him as Kim Joo-yeon and Mr. Yong-soo observe in the background. A man questions if the urgent report was about Kim Jung-gye's younger brother bringing in food. The man's subordinate confirms the substantial amount of food, and the man appears to contemplate this news. The man dismisses concerns about the food, believing that two people with one vehicle couldn't have much, and expects them to eventually beg for shares after their food is stolen. The subordinate looks uncomfortable, seemingly about to correct the man's assumption about the food supply. The man smirks, realizing the situation is easier than expected, as the newcomers possess more resources than they have collected, requiring no effort from them. The man looks intently at his subordinate, whose expression shifts to surprise. The subordinate expresses shock and questions how the new development is possible, while the man confesses he isn't sure himself. The man is confused by the abundant food supply, wondering how the two newcomers in a military vehicle could have brought more than their scouting team. The man speculates if the newcomers possess abilities like object replication or shrinking to account for their surprisingly large food stores. The man gives a subordinate a drug, ordering him to addict Kim Jong-yeon's brother to it by any means, even killing him if necessary. The subordinate complies. The man ominously recalls that there was another person who arrived with Kim Jong-yeon and his brother. A hand places a can and a candy bar next to a sleeping man, perhaps for a captive or patient. The black-haired man concludes that the sleeping individual is not the person he is searching for. The black-haired man wonders if he missed the easily recognizable person he was looking for on his way to the hospital. The black-haired man reflects that finding the target quickly would greatly simplify his current task. Kim Jo-yeon questions Kim Sol's plan to neutralize department head Jin Seong-hak's weapons by disposing of food and subduing addicted ability users. Kim Jo-yeon looks intently at Kim Sol, demanding to know what these so-called weapons are. Kim Sol casually mentions that some abilities are as mundane as automatic laundry, making Kim Jo-yeon question if he's serious. Kim Jo-yeon clarifies that most abilities are not threatening, but there is one significant exception among the awakened. The panel reveals the name Song Hyun-ji-yu, while a strong, veiny leg is emphasized, hinting at his powerful physique. Thump! Kim Sol explains that Song Hyun-ji-yu came from Eol-jiro, worried about his mother in the hospital as Song Hyun-ji-yu is seen entering a building. Step. Kim Sol, looking impressed, eagerly asks Kim Jo-yeon about Song Hyun-gu's ability. Kim Jo-yeon reveals that Song Hyun-ji-yu built the car wall with his bare hands as he walks powerfully towards Kim Sol. Thud. Thud. Song Hyun-ji-yu identifies Kim Sol as nurse Kim Jo-yeon's younger brother and proposes they have a discussion. Kim Sol calmly agrees to talk, stating he also had some business to discuss with Song Hyun-ji-yu. Song Hyun-ji-yu looks skeptical and asks what possible business Kim Sol could have with him. Song Hyun-gu's eyes glow red as he declares that any past business no longer holds relevance. Song Hyun-ji-yu, standing before the large car barrier, offers Kim Sol two stark choices: obey him or face death, asserting his dominance. Song Hyun-ji-yu extends his hand, offering a glowing vial of medicine and demanding Kim Sol drink it immediately. Whoosh! Song Hyun-ji-yu warns Kim Sol not to attempt to flee, stating his only alternative to drinking the medicine is to refuse and die. Kim Sol remarks on being led to this sketchy place, and Song Hyun-ji-yu confidently retorts that Kim Sol's physique would prevent any escape. Thud! Song Hyun-ji-yu stares ahead with a grim expression, seemingly contemplating the possibility of being trapped. Song Hyun-ji-yu lunges forward, his eyes burning red with power as he unleashes a forceful attack toward Kim Sol. Whoosh! Song Hyun-ji-yu reacts with surprise and attempts to defend himself as a drone flies towards him, surrounded by a hexagonal energy field. Song Hyun-ji-yu unleashes a, quote, professional high-spin bowling ball with tremendous force, surrounded by a blue aura, its value displayed on a system window. Song Hyun-ji-yu recoils in pain as Kim Sol, holding the bowling ball, casually asks if 90 kilometers per hour was too fast. Kim Sol apologizes to Song Hyun-ji, but asserts he will hit him one more time, preparing another strike. Wham! Ugh. Song Hyun-ji shouts in pain, staggering backward from another forceful blow. Song Hyun-gyu stares in disbelief, questioning the nature of the ability being used against him, struggling to comprehend. Kim Sol warns Song Hyun-ji not to move, despite his likely inability to do so, indicating further attacks are imminent. Kim Sol explains he slowed the attack down, but it's still heavy enough to break bones, as Song Hyun-ji is impacted by another force. Thump. Thump. A powerful, unseen force strikes Song Hyun-ji with a clear impact. Smack! Song Hyun-ji is forcefully slammed against the piled cars, his eyes glowing red with strain and fury. Thud! Kim Sol looks utterly shocked, muttering, "No way," likely at Song Hyun-gu's resilience, or the unexpected outcome of the attack. Ugh. Song Hyun-ji screams loudly in agonizing pain, clenching his fist. Kim Sol's ability manifests as glowing, cylindrical objects, resembling the large disc from earlier, rise and prepare to descend. Powerful blue energy bursts from the ground around Kim Sol's feet as he unleashes his ability, sending objects upwards. Thump! Song Hyun-ji looks up in dismay as multiple, heavy, cylindrical objects plummet from the sky towards him. Kim Sol sarcastically thanks Song Hyun-ji for staying still while he threw the objects, acknowledging his capture. Kim Sol tells Song Hyun-ji he might feel cramped but will be released once everything is sorted, asking him to hang in there longer. Kim Sol expresses relief that Song Hyun-gu's ability is sturdy, admitting he was worried about seriously hurting him despite trapping him. Jung-yeom turns to see Kim Joo-yeon calling out his name as he approaches. Kim Jo-yeon asks Jung-yeom if he encountered Mr. Song Hyun-ji, having heard a loud noise, and Jung-yeom confirms he just met him and is returning. Kim Jo-yeon looks surprised, questioning Jung-yeom about his brief encounter, as Kim Sol points towards the location of the trapped Song Hyun-ji. Kim Jo-yeon stares in disbelief at something off-screen, looking utterly perplexed by what she's seeing. Kim Jo-yeon demands an explanation for the strange situation, and Kim Sol explains that Song Hyun-ji is trapped, but it's a long story, then asks if the food distribution is complete. Jung-yeom confirms the food has been fully distributed, and Kim Sol states they are now just waiting for Mr. Yong-soo to arrive. Kim Joo-yeon thanks the man for his hard work, leaving him utterly confused by her statement. The man clutches his head, stumbling backward as a powerful red energy radiates around him, indicating a sudden affliction. Ji-yeon painfully clutches his head, confirming that it hurts terribly. Kim Joo-yeon questions if Jung-yeom's symptoms are from poisoning, and he affirms her suspicion. Jung-yeom recounts only handing out food and receiving thanks, confused about what could have happened to him. Kim Jo-yeon observes a small, new wound on Jung-yeom's finger, looking surprised it wasn't there before. Kim Jo-yeon deduces the shallow cut on Jung-yeom's finger was an intentional poison stab, likely disguised as a thankful bump, and he looks shocked. Kim Joo-yeon explains Jung-yeom needs to be confined in the subspace for now, and he reluctantly agrees. Kim Sol watches the unfolding situation with a grim expression, realizing the severity of it. Kim Sol worries about Mr. Yong-soo getting poisoned, recognizing the complication, and resolves to find Jin Seong-hak for a cure. Kim Sol instructs Jung-yeom to lie down as he prepares to block the subspace windows and doors for security. A system message explains that the subspace is an independent domain, incapable of external energy connections, as Kim Sol activates its barrier. Mr. Yong-soo appears confused, questioning the concept of external energy, as Kim Joo-yeon and Kim Sol observe him. Jung-yeom expresses surprise that his head no longer hurts inside the subspace. Kim Sol watches as Jung-yeom looks around, seemingly recovering within the glowing blue energy of the subspace. Kim Sol senses an approaching presence, preparing himself for a confrontation as blue energy crackles around him. A system window announces, quote, granting entry to Song Hyun-ji, surprising the man within the subspace. Kim Sol questions the new development as another system message appears asking if Song Hyun-ji should be unregistered from the subspace. Song Hyun-ji-yu is powerfully knocked back by an unseen force within the subspace. Song Hyun-ji-yu lies on the ground, staring wide-eyed in disbelief after being struck. Kim Sol's companion wonders how the subspace could be vulnerable to external attacks, despite its invulnerable nature. Song Hyun-gu's mother embraces him, overjoyed by his return, and he apologizes as she reassures him it's not his fault. Song Hyun-gu tells his mother to go back to sleep, promising to return soon after he finishes something, and she tells him to be careful. Kim Joo-yeon asks Song Hyun-ji-yu if he'll be alright on his own, but he confidently replies that he's immune to ordinary attacks, as she witnessed. Song Hyun-ji-yu admits his vivid, shameful memories of their last encounter and vows to settle things with the bastard before expressing gratitude. Song Hyun-ji-yu acknowledges his debt and promises to quickly resolve it in return, walking away as Kim Jo-yeon and Kim Sol watch him go. Kim Jo-yeon expresses concern for Song Hyun-ji-yu, but Kim Sol reassures her he'll be fine, urging them to focus on their next steps. A glowing blue message box states, "Connection with the minion has been lost." Kim Sol gazes at the message, contemplating the loss of connection. The man who controls minions expresses surprise, acknowledging his suspicions were confirmed by Song Hyun-gu's arrival. Song Hyun-ji-yu stands powerfully facing the seated man, ready for a confrontation. The man, with a smirk, concedes that Song Hyun-ji-yu severed the connection to his ability, stating he has only one thing to say. The man looks up with a sinister smile, demanding, "Spare me." Song Hyun-ji-yu delivers a powerful punch, sending the man flying with immense force. As Song Hyun-ji-yu handled Jin Song-hak, Kim Sol, Kim Joo-yeon, and Mr. Yong-soo discussed curing the hospital's addicted residents, deciding to move everyone into the subspace, since addiction status is unknown. Kim Jo-yeon questions the plan, but Kim Sol explains that even a finger entering the subspace is enough, urging them to proceed despite the late hour and people's difficulty moving. Kim Jo-yeon agrees to the subspace plan, feeling they have no other choice, and accepts that they will become the patients themselves. Just as they prepare for the long night of movement, a hand reaches out from off-screen, surprising Kim Joo-yeon and Kim Sol. An old man stands before them, looking confused and dazed as he questions his surroundings. The old man, now seemingly lucid, realizes he must have been out of his mind, while Kim Jo-yeon and Kim Sol look on with curiosity. Song Hyun-ji-yu, covered in blood and sweat, announces that he has finished his task. Song Hyun-gyu explains that because he handled Jin Sung-hak, his mother and the hospital people are grateful, and they avoided having to move everyone. Kim Sol asks Song Hyun-ji-yu if he's alright and apologizes for hitting him so hard earlier, but Song Hyun-ji-yu laughs it off, saying he only got a light bruise. Song Hyun-ji-yu admits that while he's seen many monsters, seeing the discs fall from the sky was truly shocking and incomparable. Song Hyun-gyu states that monsters don't even compare to Kim Sol's power, who laughs, admitting he's sometimes surprised by his own abilities. Kim Sol, acknowledging his request may be selfish after all Song Hyun-gu's help, asks him to consider staying at the hospital. Song Hyun-ji-yu understands Kim Sol's difficult question, thanks him for his concern, and wishes him a safe reunion with his family. Kim Sol mentions they are heading to Il-jiro, where Song Hyun-ji-yu came from, and asks about the conditions there, causing Song Hyun-ji-yu to look shocked. Song Hyun-ji-yu sincerely thanks Kim Sol for providing food and supplies to the hospital, promising to repay his kindness no matter what. Song Hyun-ji-yu and Kim Sol shake hands, Song Hyun-ji-yu hoping they will meet again, and Kim Sol promising to survive until then. A military vehicle navigates a street choked with wrecked cars, while a speech bubble offers a heartfelt wish to take care of yourself. An aerial view shows the military vehicle moving along a cracked, debris-strewn road in a desolate urban landscape. The man in sunglasses drives the military vehicle, his determined expression framed by the bright sunlight reflecting off nearby buildings. The man in sunglasses questions his companion about the wall Song Hyun-ji-yu mentioned, speculating if it's someone's ability. His companion agrees it's likely an ability, expressing hope for communication since there would be no other way to get past it. Song Hyunji-yu describes the unbelievable sight of a massive wall rising between Iljiro and Namsan as he departed. Someone expresses disbelief at the wall, but Song Hyunji-yu insists it grew from the ground like a child's emerging tooth. The man with black hair, pondering the new information, concludes that ground travel is now almost impossible. The man looks surprised and asks about skeletons after hearing the latest information. He clarifies that undead is a more accurate term, as the creatures kept reviving, with their corpses also walking around. The man muses that Iljiro seems like a troublesome place, given the unkillable monsters and the massive wall. He confidently states he's not worried about Sister No, too, believing she could even defeat monsters without powers, envisioning her fierce presence. Kim Sol looks at a system window displaying a message that Kim Jo-yeon is calling Jung-jom inside the subspace. Kim Sol turns to Kim Jo-yeon, questioning why, as she stands next to a glowing, spherical robot. Kim Jo-yeon explains her reason, indicating the patient's attitude, while a system message announces that the rescued soldier has awakened, surprising Kim Sol. Colonel Han Kyung-ho thanks Kim Sol for saving his life. Formally introducing himself as a colonel from the 50th Intelligence Communications Battalion, Jung-yeom introduces himself to Colonel Han Kyung-ho, asking about his condition, and the colonel confirms his recovery thanks to the treatment. Colonel Han Kyung-ho appears confused, asking for their location, noting he can see the military command outside. Jung-yeom explains they are currently in Gangnam, heading toward Hanam Bridge, while the colonel looks utterly perplexed. Colonel Han Kyung-ho struggles to reconcile being in a logistics center, a subspace, in Gangnam, yet heading to Hanam Bridge. Kim Joo-yeon clarifies that everything around them is created by Kim Sol's ability, and they are indeed in Gangnam. Colonel Han Kyung-ho asks if he could be dropped off there, surprising Kim Sol with the request. Kim Sol reassures Colonel Han Kyung-ho that they have no intention of harming him, as he also received help from him and knows he's not dangerous. Colonel Han Kyung-ho acknowledges their trustworthiness, but explains his unease and urgent need to reach the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Colonel Han Kyung-ho stresses the seriousness of his mission, emphasizing the critical information he must deliver. An AI robot cheerfully offers Colonel Han Kyung-ho a banana milk and a sandwich. Colonel Han Kyung-ho, looking at the food, states that the AI can send it. Kim Sol, holding the offered items, asserts that he won't let Colonel Han Kyung-ho leave so easily. Kim Sol instructs Colonel Han Kyung-ho to eat the food and then explain the situation before he will be allowed to leave. Colonel Han Kyung-ho winces, finding it hard to talk about the events, and Kim Sol misinterprets his reluctance as dislike for the food. Kim Sol offers a lavish spread of pizza and waffles, hoping better food will loosen Colonel Han Kyung-ho's tongue. Colonel Han Kyung-ho, while eating, begins to explain that creatures from the other world suddenly appeared globally. He clarifies that, quote, creatures from the other world include more than just monsters, encompassing insects, animals, plants, and even geographical features. Colonel Han Kyung-ho explains these new creatures attacked everything in sight, showcasing a monstrous, muscular orc. He recounts how the creatures spared nothing, leading the government to recruit awakened individuals to fight back while dealing with monsters. Colonel Han Kyung-ho states that awakened units successfully handled the monsters, bringing a semblance of stability to his unit's area. A military officer stares in shock and distress, his face streaked with sweat or particles as the dire situation unfolds around him. A massive, unyielding dragon looms over fallen soldiers, its sheer power rendering it seemingly impervious to any attack. Despite repeated pleas for aid from nearby military units also under monster attack, the command provided no response, leaving them isolated. As they discussed the silent command, which offered no sighting reports even after monster battles, the group concluded they were left with no other choice. Faced with certain death by the dragon, a commander declares they are moving towards the National Communication Command, no matter how long it takes. Their relentless retreat from pursuing monsters exacted a heavy toll, leaving many comrades injured or dead along the way. As they advanced, they actively recruited awakened individuals to join their ranks and resist the relentless monster onslaught. After many arduous days of travel through the monster-infested lands, they finally reached their destination, a tall, imposing building. As anticipated, the command center was completely deserted, and the unsettling reason for its abandonment soon became unsettlingly clear. While searching the National Communication Command, they uncovered some critical documents that promised to reveal a shocking truth. The discovery of the word coup, written within the documents, sent a wave of shock through the assembled group, leaving them aghast. The man explains he was trapped by the dragon while heading to headquarters, further revealing that recruited awakened individuals had betrayed them, seizing command. The soldier deduces the First Corps, with the commander's complicity, is quietly blocking troop recruitment, and stresses the urgent need to report this coup. Understanding the coup's implications, the man confirms they must reach Iljiro and offers to drop them off at the Han River Bridge, suggesting they travel together as far as possible. Colonel Han Kyung-ho offers to leave, thanking them, while Kim Sol tells him to rest and Jung Yong confirms they are ready to depart. Colonel Han Kyung-ho ponders that Kim Sol must have faced the dragon to have saved him. Colonel Han Kyung-ho wonders how Kim Sol shook off the persistent dragon, admitting he can't tell just by looking. An orc monster manifests with a powerful aura as Kim Sol's companion urgently points ahead. The monstrous orc snarls menacingly, its red eyes glowing, indicating a monster up ahead. Thwack! A powerful force, likely from Kim Sol, sends a figure flying past the orc amidst a bright impact. Kim Sol's companion watches with wide eyes as the powerful ability sends the monster soaring into the air. Thwack! Kim Sol's companion stares, perplexed, as the monster is struck again, wondering what's happening. A 20 kilograms disc, covered in blood, is shown mid-air, having been launched with immense force. Kim Sol's companion looks on as blood splatters, questioning if that was the disc. Colonel Han Kyung-ho looks utterly dumbfounded, trying to process that stacked discs are being launched at the orc. Colonel Han Kyung-ho nods in understanding, while a glowing energy begins to build from below. Zap! A military vehicle materializes from a bright energy portal, surprising everyone. Colonel Han Kyung-ho stares, eyes wide, questioning if a military vehicle just appeared. Kim Sol reassures the colonel they will arrive soon and will leave the portal open for him to monitor the outside, to which the colonel agrees. Colonel Han Kyung-ho looks amazed, pondering what kind of ability can launch discs and even summon a military vehicle. Roar! The orc monster lets out a furious cry, its eyes glowing red as it prepares to attack. Punch! The massive orc lunges forward, ready to deliver a powerful blow. Clang! Kim Sol's companion watches as more glowing discs fly past, striking something unseen with explosive force. Colonel Han Kyung-ho stares, utterly bewildered, questioning what is unfolding before him. Swoosh! A military vehicle is surrounded by glowing energy and debris, demonstrating the impressive range of Kim Sol's power. Colonel Han Kyung-ho, looking frantic, confirms that he clearly saw the incredible events and didn't doubt his eyes. Clang! He describes the ability as launching heavy objects at high speed, firing 4 per second, and able to change direction freely. Swoosh! He explains that it also retrieves launched pillars and extracts mana stones from defeated monsters, displaying a glowing stone. Colonel Han Kyung-ho stares thoughtfully at a damaged building, acknowledging Kim Sol's ability is incredibly insane. Kim Sol's companion informs the colonel that they are heading to Banpo Bridge, including the underwater section, implying a complex route. Boom! The cracked, debris-strewn road indicates the Banpo Bridge is impassable, confirming their route is no good. Kim Sol smiles sheepishly, admitting their arrival will be delayed, and they need to find another route. Colonel Han Kyung-ho expresses surprise at the delay after only an hour but accepts it, grateful for the help, and states he will go back inside the subspace. Whump! Colonel Han Kyung-ho steps into the swirling blue energy of Kim Sol's subspace. The narration highlights the miraculous 1-hour journey from Gangnam to Banpo Bridge, attributing it partly to Jungyeom's ability despite collapsed roads and monster fights. Kim Sol notes the messy road, crediting his companion, the man in sunglasses, for his driving skills. Zoom! The military vehicle speeds through the devastated urban landscape, with the man in sunglasses driving so skillfully it could make one dizzy. Colonel Han Kyung-ho, now inside, admits he nearly got motion sickness from the driving, concluding both Kim Sol and his companion have remarkable talents. Whoosh! The military vehicle drives across a severely damaged bridge, reinforcing the dangerous journey. Whoosh! A distant mountain with a structure on top is visible beyond the damaged bridge, under a clear sky. Kim Sol's companion identifies a distant fortress-like wall, stating the car cannot traverse it, and Kim Sol agrees, noting its immense size. Kim Sol and his companion decide to approach the wall to assess if they can break through it, acknowledging the route will also take them through Yongsan. Colonel Han Kyung-ho looks concerned, deep in thought, about the implications of this new obstacle. Whoosh! A tall, damaged building stands against the bright sky, a testament to the world's destruction. Kim Sol's companion stands beside the military vehicle, thanking them for the safe arrival. Colonel Han Kyung-ho wishes them well, hoping the situation resolves and urging them to stay healthy as Kim Sol's companion thanks him. Kim Sol smiles confidently, stating that only the task of heading to Iljuro remains. Kim Sol checks a system window showing his abilities level up progress, contemplating if a higher level could put the wall into subspace, but confirms he's not strong enough yet. Kim Sol calculates that with 400 mana stones collected in an hour, he could level up in 2 more hours, considering the remaining enhancement cost. Colonel Han Kyung-ho looks at Kim Sol and his companion, asking if they would consider coming with him. Colonel Han Kyung-ho explains that the government supports awakened individuals with mana stones and offers substantial support if they join. Kim Sol respectfully declines the offer, stating his family is his priority and they can gather mana stones on their own. Colonel Han Kyung-ho considers that the Joint Chiefs of Staff headquarters might have a helicopter. Colonel Han Kyung-ho suggests the Joint Chiefs of Staff must possess helicopters, a comment that surprises Kim Sol's companion. Papers are scattered on a desk as a speech bubble conveys that Guaxin, Anyang, and the 56th Division have all been destroyed. A military officer stands before a large map, contemplating that the 1st Corps might be the only intact area remaining. The military officer sighs, deeply questioning if the government even still exists amidst the overwhelming destruction. His face illuminated by an ominous red glow, the military officer grimly asserts that everything remains shrouded in darkness. Tap, tap. A military officer approaches another officer, addressing him as, quote, Director. The arriving officer informs the director that the commander of the 50th Signal Battalion, whose entire unit was killed, has arrived with an urgent message. Chuck. A military officer salutes, bathed in bright light, presenting himself formally. The officer stares, sweat beading on his face as he reacts with intense shock to the contents of a document he holds. Poof! From above, a military officer observes a military truck driving away on a damaged road. An aerial view shows the military truck and a lone officer standing on the cracked pavement amidst the devastation. Tap, tap. Soldiers emerge from the military truck onto the damaged road, preparing to depart. Thump. Soldiers respectfully bow to Kim Sol and Jeongyeom, thanking them for their immense service, while Kim Sol humbly states he merely helped Colonel Han Kyung-ho. Kim Sol reveals that he heard about Jeongyeom's unique abilities from the battalion commander, and that Jeongyeom requested a helicopter and supplies. The military officer acknowledges helicopters as strategic assets, but suggests that Jeongyeom's abilities could make their delivery feasible. The military officer extends an offer for Jeongyeom to join the military as an awakened member, believing he could provide a breakthrough for the struggling government. Shake! Shake! Jeongyeom, holding his hand up, respectfully declines the offer, stating that rescuing his family is his paramount priority. The military officer appears crestfallen, acknowledging Jeongyeom's refusal as truly unfortunate. Shake! The military officer states he cannot provide the helicopter given Jeongyeom's refusal, and Jeongyeom accepts that the situation cannot be helped. The military officer expresses hope for a return to normal life and bids farewell to Jeongyeom, who is about to re-enter the vehicle, prompting a sudden reaction of surprise from the officer. Zap! The military officer and his companion stare in wide-eyed disbelief, questioning the situation as he exclaims that something isn't right. Kim Sol holds a small device, deciding they need to personally assess the fortress wall before moving forward. Ding! The military officer leans into the vehicle, revealing he has one final request for Kim Sol and Jeongyeom. The military officer, looking determined and sweating, makes it clear he will provide the helicopter only if this new request is fulfilled. Vroom! A military convoy navigates through a heavily damaged urban landscape, passing tall, ruined buildings under a clear sky. Vroom! Kim Sol, a cigarette in his mouth, looks out from the window of the military truck as the convoy continues its journey. The military officer explains that their last assembly point for reserve awakened individuals was Seoul Station, which is still in communication. Kim Sol questions the officer about skeletons blocking the road, and the officer confirms that they are the obstacle. The officer explains that while the skeletons aren't strong in combat, they are a significant nuisance as the military truck drives onward. A massive skeletal hand reaches down towards the military truck as the officer states that there are many of them. A glowing skeleton is shown, its core visible. As the officer explains, they revive unless the core in their right rib is destroyed. The military officer summarizes the request for Jang Yeom to break through the skeleton blockade and rescue the isolated, awakened individuals. Wham! A powerful attack shatters bones, with a speech bubble stating, "Sounds simple." A skeleton's shattered remains are flung through the air after being hit by a powerful force. Two soldiers inside a military vehicle watch with wide, astonished eyes, seemingly reacting to the scene unfolding outside. Thump, thump! A shattered skeleton skull lies on the debris-strewn road next to a military convoy, marking the path of destruction. Clang! The sun illuminates a tall, damaged building, signifying a new location or a significant moment. Wah, wah! Soldiers cheer enthusiastically from within a building, looking out as if welcoming an arrival or celebrating a victory. Waggle, waggle! A military convoy is surrounded by a group of awakened individuals, suggesting a successful rendezvous or a strategic meeting. Vroom! An aerial view captures the military convoy moving efficiently through the devastated city, leaving a trail of progress. Vroom! The military convoy speeds through the city, carrying soldiers who look out from the back of their trucks. The military officer explains that guns are ineffective against the skeleton's cores and shares a crucial piece of information with Jang Yeom. The officer warns Jang Yeom about a far more powerful opponent, a formidable skeleton knight. The officer strongly advises Jang Yeom to avoid engaging the skeleton knight at all costs, urging immediate retreat even if it means taking damage. Smash! A 20 kilograms weight, glowing with immense power, is launched with incredible speed through the air. Shroosh! A devastating red energy attack sweeps across the ground, sending debris flying. Slash! Another fierce red energy blast slashes through the air, highlighting the skeleton knight's formidable power. The imposing skeleton knight, armored and wielding a weapon, attacks with glowing red eyes, exuding a menacing aura. Poof! A muscular soldier with a bandaged arm and a female soldier are visible, looking out from inside a military vehicle. Poof! A military vehicle appears through a glowing blue portal above, while below, the menacing skeleton knight is enveloped in red energy amidst shattered buildings. An armored skeleton knight stands illuminated by a blue glow, holding its sword. The skeleton knight's armored gauntlet glows with blue energy as it clenches. The imposing skeleton knight, armored and glowing with blue light, stands tall with its sword. The skeleton knight, with glowing red eyes, introduces himself as Gawain, an otherworlder. Jang Yeom looks surprised as Gawain explains that a broken magic stone enabled their communication, questioning this new use. Gawain questions Jang Yeom about being a mage and why he is interfering in their territory. Gawain expresses impatience with Jang Yeom's interference during their pioneering phase, hinting at business ethics. A small, red-haired figure unleashes a powerful, sweeping red energy attack. Gawain confidently deflects the attack, stating it is useless and won't scratch him. Gawain swiftly parries another incoming attack. Gawain charges with immense speed, creating a powerful trail of force. Gawain prepares for an attack, glowing with intense energy. Gawain launches another potent red energy attack across the devastated street. Gawain executes a swift, powerful maneuver. Gawain unleashes a flurry of rapid red energy slashes. Gawain charges towards the military truck, while a massive glowing blue sphere approaches him from behind. Kim Sol's companion warns Jang Yeom that Gawain is approaching, impressed by how easily it slices through heavy objects. Jang Yeom realizes his disc pillars don't damage Gawain but can bounce off, considering how to exploit this. Jang Yum uses 50 magic stones to unlock tracking delivery, a new ability. John Jane commands the launch of a glowing blue sphere, directing it at Gawain's chest. Gawain easily dodges the attack, mocking Jang Yum and calling him stupid for a mage. Gawain confidently states he can dodge any attack as a blue shield forms around him. Gawain is surprised and confused, seemingly caught off guard. Gawain is hit by a powerful blue energy blast, staggering him. Gawain recovers, warning Jang Yum not to be cocky, claiming he nearly let his guard down. Gawain blocks an unseen attack with his shield, preparing a counter. Gawain expresses shock, asking what hit him as he couldn't perceive the attack. Gawain is struck by another powerful, unseen blow. Gawain reels from an impact, looking dazed. Gawain is barraged by multiple glowing blue disc pillars from various angles. Gawain is overwhelmed as the disc pillars strike him simultaneously from all directions. Jang Yum calmly directs his attacks to precisely hit specific locations on Gawain's head. Kim Sol's companion expresses relief that physical attacks are effective, thanking Jang Yum for their survival. Jang Yum warns they aren't safe yet, noting Gawain's armor makes him tougher than a giant wyvern. Jang Yum adds that Gawain's shield and sword make him even more dangerous, then suddenly realizes the skeleton knight can speak. Multiple skeletal heads emerge, attacking a red core, as Gawain furiously orders Jang Yum to stop. Kim Sol and his companion notice that more fragments are now breaking off Gawain. Jang Yum realizes the increased fragmentation might be a crucial development. Jang Yum orders the disc pillars to strike simultaneously from all directions. A massive explosion erupts around Gawain, signifying a critical hit. Gawain lies shattered, acknowledging Jang Yum's strength but warning that they, quote, do not die, even in death. Gawain's broken pieces scatter on the ground, his final words declaring his actions were, for the Night King. Mana stones, glowing blue and red, drop onto the ground from the defeated knight. More mana stones and a glowing orb fall near the military vehicles, spoils of the battle. A system notification announces Jang Yum obtained 2 large mana stone fragments and a reinforcement stone, shocking Kim Sol's companion. A soldier expresses astonishment that Jang Yum defeated the skeleton knight, who had withstood tank shells. Soldiers cheer enthusiastically, celebrating Jang Yum's remarkable victory over the powerful foe. The military officer, despite his earlier advice to retreat, acknowledges Jang Yum's impressive defeat of the skeleton knight. The military officer reiterates his plea for Jang Yum and Kim Sol to join them after rescuing their families, but Jang Yum maintains his priority. The military officer accepts Jang Yum's decision but hopes he will reconsider, calling him a valuable ally, to which Jang Yum agrees. Jang Yum reflects on the high expectations placed upon him after defeating the skeleton knight, admitting it was a tough fight he barely managed to win. He further considers that if there had been even one more similar enemy, his mission would have resulted in complete failure. Jang Yum expresses his major concern that Gawain, the defeated knight, called himself one of the 12 knights, implying at least 11 more powerful enemies exist, and questions the meaning of, they do not die, even in death. Jang Yum reviews the battle, realizing that high-caliber rounds did minimal damage to Gawain, yet his bowling ball attacks created cracks in the armor, puzzling him about the physics of his abilities. He muses on the illogical nature of monsters and the physics of their world, as a military officer approaches and mentions Colonel Han Kyung-ho. The military officer explains that high walls have suddenly appeared in Yulji-Aro, and a unit sent to investigate them has lost contact. The officer explains they have since conducted aerial reconnaissance and confirmed that people are still active inside the walls, suggesting their troops and Jang Yum's family might be safe. The military officer reassures Jang Yum that his family is surely safe within the walls, and Jang Yum thanks him for the comforting words. Jang Yum nonchalantly admits he wasn't worried about his family, half joking that his sister might be more formidable than the actual monsters, with a shadowy, mischievous figure appearing behind him. The officer shares a peculiar observation. The top of the grown walls is gradually curving inward like a roof, and he's relieved they can lend a helicopter before it fully closes. Jang Yum looks at a somewhat damaged helicopter number 25,378 as he considers their next step. Jong-yum questions if the seemingly outdated helicopter is suitable for their mission, but then realizes he is mistaken about which vehicle they are receiving. The military officer gestures, revealing that Jong-yum and his companion will be riding a different, more impressive helicopter. A dazzling light illuminates Jong-yum, the military officer, and Kim Sol's companion, standing before a sleek helicopter, ready for departure. The military officer grins, gesturing proudly towards the helicopter, as Kim Sol's companion looks on with wide-eyed surprise. Kim Sol's companion laughs boisterously, seemingly delighted by the unexpected upgrade or the overall situation. The military officer confirms the provided helicopter is more than sufficient, asserting that he wasn't joking about them being reliable allies. Kim Sol's companion expresses genuine surprise that they are being lent a Black Hawk helicopter and excitedly declares he's ready to fly it, much to Jong-yum's astonishment. The military officer asks Yong-soo, Kim Sol's companion, if he has prior helicopter piloting experience, to which Yong-soo confidently replies it's his first time. Yong-soo's system interface reveals he can acquire best driver piloting abilities for the helicopter for 50 magic stones. Yong-soo explains that best driver allows him to skillfully operate any vehicle, but he must register the new vehicle type before piloting it, a concept his companion questions. Yong-soo clarifies that it's about registering a new concept rather than a typical level up, which is why he didn't receive a level up message for the ability. The military officer suggests they follow him to receive the magic stones needed for Yong-soo's new piloting skill. The military officer unveils a large crate overflowing with glowing blue magic stones, prompting a look of awe from Jong-yum's companion. The military officer explains the 200 magic stones are a gift from the army, and he decided to present them now instead of surprising them later. Jong-yum and his companion express their sincere gratitude for the generous gift of 200 magic stones. The military officer emphasizes the significance of the substantial gift, telling Jong-yum to use the surplus stones as he sees fit after acquiring the 50 needed. Kim Sol's companion is astonished as Jong-yum immediately uses 50 magic stones to enhance his helicopter piloting skills, confirming the action on a system display. Kim Sol, surrounded by a red glow, confidently declares he now has a feel for flying and insists on departing immediately. Jong-yum, looking slightly fearful, tells Kim Sol his eagerness is unsettling and suggests a slower approach, but Kim Sol firmly rejects the idea. Jong-yum looks visibly stressed, a tear falling from his eye, while Kim Sol grins wildly, both wearing headsets inside the helicopter. Kim Sol, with a dark aura, tells Jong-yum they still have time before departure and he can prepare mentally later, promising to signal when it's time to leave. Jong-yum looks confused, wearing his headset, as Kim Sol's hands appear to be manipulating something just out of view. Feeling awkward standing idle, Jong-yum decides to review the items he acquired earlier, noting he received 2 large magic stones and 1 enhancement stone. A system notification displays that his 2 large magic stones are equivalent to 200 regular ones, increasing his total to 1,393, which surprises him. Jong-yum realizes he collected mini skeletons during the rescue mission and decides to immediately level up his subspace using 1,000 magic stones. He contemplates how to utilize the enhancement stone, which is presented as a glowing red gem with a D attribute, offering fire options. A system message clarifies that enhancement stones originate from magic stones but are imbued with additional properties, allowing them to bestow specific qualities onto objects when used with the awakening system. The system confirms that the acquired magic stone is imbued with a fire property and, unlike regular magic stones, enhancement stones can imbue objects with qualities and attributes. Jong-yum deduces that this enhancement stone can impart fire attributes to objects, similar to the power wielded by the Skeleton Knight. He considers which items to enhance, noting his options include his professional rotating well-spinning bowling ball, disc pillar, or grenade, but he is uncertain of the power level of the enhancement. A system notification confirms enhancement complete bowling ball, which now glows with fire and has new attributes of penetration and ignition, designated as rare grade. Jong-yum confirms he will register the newly enhanced bowling ball, explaining that its volley inflicted the most damage on the Skeleton Knight, making it a strategic choice for current enhancement. Kim Sol, with a mischievous grin, announces they're taking off and tells Jong Yam to hold on tight and mentally prepare, eliciting an apprehensive groan from Jong Yam. The military officer salutes, wishing Jong Yam and Kim Sol success in rescuing their families and a safe return as the helicopter prepares for takeoff. Jong Yam gives a thumbs up as a system notification announces level up complete, revealing new unlockable items, item retrieval for registered people, and temporary shipping size limit increases for subspace items. Jong Yam's eyes widen in shock and confusion, a red aura surrounding him, seemingly reacting to the profound changes from his level up. The military officer observes the helicopter's spinning propeller, noting that it looks like Jong Yam and Kim Sol are about to take off. The military officer salutes, confidently thinking that Jong Yam will reconsider and positively affiliate with them upon his return. The military officer salutes while watching Jong Yam inside the helicopter, wondering about the surprised expression on Jong Yam's face. The military officer salutes, pondering if he made a mistake while Jong Yam is visible inside the Blackhawk helicopter. Available items to unlock: subspace laboratory features like transformation and healing effects, and object registration. Further details of the Subspace life support system are presented, explaining healing effects and item category registration for external objects. The biggest drawback of Subspace ability. The drawback is revealed. It can only hold one target, shown against a backdrop of a large building. The system explains Jong Yam has been storing large, non-standard targets like logistics centers and military bases, which has worked well until now, showing various stored items. Category item registration for new objects, but only those fitting the current logistics center and military base categories. Jong Yam realizes the helicopter is a military vehicle, which might fit his military base subspace category. Ping! A system message confirms the UH-60 Blackhawk can be registered under the military base category for 107 magic stones. The military officer walks away as the helicopter begins its ascent. The military officer pauses, looking confused by a sound. He turns to see the Blackhawk helicopter taking off, looking surprised. The military officer wonders why Jong Yam and Young Soo returned, questioning if there's a problem with the helicopter. Whoosh! The helicopter hovers, surrounded by a swirling blue energy field. Whiz! The blue energy field expands rapidly, creating a powerful outward blast from the helicopter. Thud, thud. Red impact energy appears around the helicopter as its special ability seems to be activated. Thud! The helicopter's impact sends debris flying from the ground, accompanied by a strong red aura. Shh! The helicopter ascends swiftly into the sky, leaving the ground behind. Whoosh! The military officer watches in astonishment as the helicopter vanishes quickly into the distance. The military officer stands, wide-eyed and sweating, completely baffled by the helicopter's sudden, powerful departure. A colossal wall of stone erupts from the city, towering over the buildings as it forms. The Skeleton King sits on his throne, observing with a red aura surrounding him. The Skeleton King, with glowing purple eyes, contemplates, stating his inability to understand the situation. He questions why a high-tier wizard would come to Earth, a low-tier dimension, especially after reducing his own tier to do so. He further wonders why such an arrogant wizard would enter his claimed territory and kill Gawain. Hiss! The Skeleton King recalls that Gawain was attacked immediately, concluding the wizard is dangerous. A skeletal knight named Lancelot offers to behead the wizard and present his head to the Skeleton King. The Skeleton King deduces the wizard's motive. He is attempting to claim the area before it fully opens, just like himself. The Skeleton King agrees the wizard must be eliminated, but sees no rush since the incident occurred outside the castle. The Skeleton King states their current task is almost complete, and they will strike the wizard once their harvest is finished. Whoosh! Lancelot acknowledges the order and reports that some humans have entered the castle. The Skeleton King dismisses the humans as bothersome toys, stating they will become more food for Camelot once the roof closes. Caw! Monstrous bat creature with glowing red eyes screeches fiercely. Thump! The bat monster is struck by a powerful blue energy blast in mid-air. Shh! The helicopter flies over the city, amidst swirling dust and debris, heading towards the action. Jong Yam worries if his enhanced bowling ball is truly more powerful than his disc pillar, contemplating if he should have upgraded the disc pillar instead. Young-soo informs Jong-gyum they're near their destination, but landing is difficult, prompting Jong-gyum to offer to retrieve items from the ground. Young-soo reveals a skeleton knight is currently fighting another monster nearby, complicating their landing. Boom! A powerful blue energy blast streaks through the air. Clack! A blue armored skeleton knight, wielding an electrified spear, attacks with crackling energy. The blue skeleton knight launches a powerful, spinning energy attack from his weapon. Jong-gyum's sister, enveloped in a radiant golden aura, prepares to unleash her power. She delivers a devastating, glowing punch, crackling with golden energy. Jong-gyum's sister unleashes a powerful golden energy beam, sending the blue skeleton knight flying back. Thud! The blue skeleton knight crashes violently into a building, causing an explosive impact. Young-soo comments that both combatants are incredible, looking like monsters, prompting Jong-gyum to reveal the one who sent the skeleton knight flying is his older sister. Young-soo, stunned, asks which one, and Jong-gyum confirms it's the silhouetted figure who just struck the skeleton knight. Jong-gyum's sister, visibly annoyed, expresses confusion because she feels the impact of her hits, but the enemy doesn't seem to die. She questions why the monster remains alive despite her repeated attacks, looking frustrated yet determined. A small child sits alone in a quiet, confined space, looking away from the viewer. As a child, Kim Sol became captivated after watching a mixed martial arts match on television. Fortunately, her little brother Jong-gyum asked her to play, and she eagerly agreed, thump, thump, instantly engaging in physical combat. Kim Sol-won stood over a defeated young Jong-gyum, looking unhappy despite her easy victory. Even neighborhood kids 3 years older were no match for Kim Sol, who left them defeated on the ground. Kim Sol's father recognized her talent, leading her to enroll at a mixed martial arts academy. She suffered her first defeat in the boxing ring, looking stunned and leaning against the ropes. Despite the loss, Kim Sol smiled broadly, declaring the fight was fun, embracing the pain and challenge of defeat. Born with an innate competitive spirit, Kim Sol continued to pursue martial arts with fierce determination. Her natural physique and undying passion drove Kim Sol to train relentlessly, pushing her limits. By 7th grade, Kim Sol had no rivals in the junior division, dominating her opponents with powerful strikes. Kim Sol's unquenchable passion fueled her relentless training and exercise, sparing no effort. A close-up shows Kim Sol with a wide, almost manic grin, reflecting her intense passion for fighting. Kim Sol suffered a severe injury, tearing the cruciate ligaments in both knees, leaving her crumpled in pain. Impatient with recovery, Kim Sol resumed training prematurely, greeting others from a wheelchair before accumulating more injuries from her persistent efforts. At 24, Kim Sol finally debuted as a professional fighter, much later than her skill indicated. As Jong-gyum looks on from the helicopter, Kim Sol asks the pilot, Young-soo, to slowly lower the helicopter so she can throw her bowling ball, making Young-soo think she's a monster. A powerful blue energy blast strikes the ground, creating a significant impact and scattering debris. A formidable blue armored skeleton knight stands stoically amidst the urban destruction. The blue skeleton knight looks up, eyes glowing, about to question Jong-gyum's sister. The skeleton knight questions Jong-gyum's sister on why his attacks cannot reach her, as she stands calmly before him. The skeleton knight asserts that his speed is not inferior to anyone else's, casting a resolute gaze. The skeleton knight deduces that her evasion isn't about speed, but rather some unknown technique. Kim Sol, looking confused, denies using a technique, explaining she simply observes an opponent's body language, like shoulders, waist, and foot stance. The skeleton knight, standing on the street, reflects on the importance of fundamentals, expressing that he has learned something new today. The skeleton knight honestly admits he would have lost to her if not for their hierarchical differences. The skeleton knight remarks that people like Kim Sol are rare, and predicts she could become the greatest knight if she raises her rank soon. The skeleton knight allows Kim Sol to leave, warning her of imminent death if she doesn't escape the castle quickly. The skeleton knight remarks that allowing her to leave would normally be impossible. As Kim Sol's bowling ball strikes him, the skeleton knight calls it a small favor for teaching him fundamentals, while Kim Sol reacts with confusion, asking, "Huh?" Thud! The skeleton knight's helmet and skull shatter into fiery fragments upon impact from the bowling ball. Thud! The glowing, fire-enhanced bowling ball bounces among the scattered, burning debris of the defeated skeleton knight. Kim Sol stands among the glowing debris, looking utterly surprised and questioning if a bowling ball truly caused such destruction. Kim Sol stares intently, struggling to comprehend how a bowling ball managed to break the skeleton knight. Kim Sol questions how a mere bowling ball could break something even she struggled against, looking down at the shattered armor. Whoosh! Vibrant blue and red magic stones float upward from the shattered ground after the defeat. Whoosh! Numerous magic stones ascend rapidly into the sky from the destruction below, emphasizing the vast spoils. Kim Sol stands amidst the debris, watching the newly acquired magic stones float upward. The helicopter descends, casting a large shadow over Kim Sol amidst swirling dust and debris. The helicopter hovers above Kim Sol, preparing to land and pick her up. Kim Sol enters the helicopter through its open door, a silhouette against the light. Jang Yoon greets Kim Sol warmly inside the helicopter, expressing relief that she is still alive. Kim Sol, looking utterly shocked, recognizes Jang Yoon as number 3. A table is laden with various takeout foods, including pizza and fried chicken, suggesting a celebratory meal. Jang Jeom and another braided woman sit at a table filled with food. As a conversation begins, the braided woman asks Kim Sol about her ability, specifically questioning if she can create an invisible barrier that enhances her physical capabilities. Kim Sol, mid-bite of a drumstick, clarifies that her physical abilities are naturally strong and unrelated to the barrier. The braided woman tells Kim Sol to slow down eating, while Jang Yeom remarks that his sister used to eat in the same voracious manner. Jang Yeom expresses relief that all 3 of them awakened and survived, stating they now need to find their big bro, prompting Kim Sol to question if he's using a cheat code. Kim Sol questions Jang Yeom about his extensive acquisitions, and he replies it's a long story to explain everything. Jang Yeom instructs Kim Sol to use PAX to order whatever she needs and to greet Yongsu's family in the subspace, to which she agrees. Jang Jeom and the braided woman discuss their departure as he explains they must leave before the fortress wall's ceiling fully closes. She recalls it being mentioned by Mr. Song Hyun Ji-yu. Jang Yeom confirms the ceiling is growing and will completely cover the area, stressing the need to hurry as it was already partially covered when he brought number 2 in. Jang Yeom expresses a desire to collect more magic stones, but realizes they need to escape the rapidly closing ceiling of the fortress wall immediately. The fortress ceiling swiftly closes in, plunging the area into darkness as the central light source diminishes. Jongam reacts with a surprised expression as the entire area is enveloped in darkness due to the closing ceiling. The helicopter sits on the ground, kicking up dust and debris as its rotors prepare for a swift ascent. Multiple fiery bowling balls are launched from the helicopter, soaring through the urban landscape towards their targets. An explosive impact rocks a building as one of the bowling balls strikes it, creating a bright flash and sending debris flying. The ground is left scorched and shattered, with fragments of the impact scattered across the damaged area. Jang Yeom, in the helicopter, questions why the barrier surrounding the castle remains unscratched despite their powerful attacks. Jang Jeom observes that the ceiling shows no sign of reopening and contemplates forcing the entire structure into subspace. A system interface indicates that shipping size limits can be increased with magic stones, and Jang Yeom reveals he used all his current stones to send out the helicopter. Jang Yeom laments that leveling up will become more difficult due to the significant cost of using 15 magic stones each time they deploy the helicopter. He expresses concern that the castle might be too large for subspace and worries about the possibility of the entire Yuljiro district being sucked in. Jang Yeom and the braided woman look on thoughtfully, contemplating the complex situation they face. The braided woman expresses her unease, asking Jang Yeom if the Skeleton Knight's warning was true, to which he questions her meaning. She clarifies she's referring to the skeleton he just defeated. The braided woman reveals the Skeleton Knight offered to spare her because she would die if she stayed, and while she doesn't know how, he claimed he'd get her out by talking to the Night King. Jong-yeom is shocked by the revelation. As the braided woman states, the skeleton knight was then struck by the bowling ball he threw and died, leading Jong-yeom to deduce the Night King knows something crucial. Jong-yeom realizes they have limited time to find the Night King in Yeoljiro, but the braided woman reassures him, saying, "Don't worry." The braided woman confidently states they will reach their destination in 5 minutes, much to Jong-yeom's visible surprise. Jong-yeom yells to wait with a frantic expression as the helicopter seemingly accelerates rapidly. The helicopter streaks through the city at high speed, indicating an incredibly swift journey. Jong-yeom pleads with the pilot to, "Please, slow down," conveying his discomfort with the helicopter's immense speed. The helicopter continues its rapid, almost blinding flight through the cityscape. A close-up view accentuates the intense speed and motion of their journey. The scene shifts to the interior of a vast, Gothic-style hall adorned with striking red-stained glass windows. A spectral skull asks why Lionel died without landing a single hit, and the Skeleton King confirms it from his throne. The Skeleton King reveals Lionel's last words before vanishing, concluding that a magician is certainly responsible for the defeat, as his armored hand clenches. The Skeleton King expresses frustration that the intruders might be interfering with his impending harvest. The Skeleton King declares there's no need to wait since the intruders' intent was always to disrupt his harvest, and demands to know their current location. The spectral skull informs the Skeleton King that he doesn't need to move, as the intruders are already on their way to the castle, prompting the king to question their approach. The Skeleton King's glowing eyes fix upward, anticipating the imminent arrival of the intruders. The Skeleton King calmly awaits their arrival on his throne, his gaze still directed upwards. A shadowy figure inside the helicopter looks out, seemingly preparing for their dramatic entrance into the castle. The helicopter approaches the grand, red-lit interior of the castle at high speed, ready to breach its defenses. The Skeleton King questions if the intruder is undead and expresses confusion, recalling he was told it was a magician. The Skeleton King concludes that no matter what they are, their approach to the castle saves him the trouble of searching, though he muses they might not even make it. The Skeleton King speculates that those guys within the castle might deal with the intruders before they can reach him. A long, ornate red carpet stretches across a dark, grand hall, leading towards an ominous path ahead. A bright light pierces through a shadowy opening, revealing a new point of entry into the castle. Blue! Jong-yeom visibly heaves, looking very ill from the helicopter's turbulent ride. Jong-yeom, green with motion sickness, vows never to ride a helicopter again, looking completely miserable. Jong-yeom looks up in surprise and asks, "Huh?" A monstrous bat creature with glowing red eyes screeches and lunges aggressively. Kim Sol delivers a powerful punch directly to the bat monster's face. Boom! Kim Sol unleashes a devastating, glowing golden punch that sends the bat monster reeling backward with immense force. Jong-yeom reacts with an astonished expression, questioning the incredible power he just witnessed. Jong-yeom and Kim Sol cautiously step through a massive castle door, entering the ominous fortress over the defeated remains of monsters. Jong-yeom expresses his thanks, then quickly corrects himself with a surprised look as he and Kim Sol stand before Mr. Young-soo, the pilot. Kim Sol looks intensely focused, her expression stern and determined. Kim Sol tells Jong-yeom there's more, prompting him to question what else there could be, as they both look cautiously forward. A fierce bat monster lunges forward, followed by a glimpse of the dark, ominous castle interior, signaling immediate danger. As they enter the massive castle door, Jong-yeom calls out to Mr. Young-soo, the pilot, urging him to take action. Jong-yeom instructs Mr. Young-soo to enter the subspace for safety, to which the pilot nervously agrees as blue energy crackles around him. Kim Sol grins menacingly, surrounded by a red aura, declaring she would have been disappointed if there was only one monster to face. Kim Sol, surrounded by red energy, announces she's going in first, surprising Jong-yeom, who calls out for her to wait. Kim Sol delivers a powerful stomp, impacting the ground with intense red energy. Kim Sol stands triumphantly over a defeated bat monster in the grand hall, ready to face the numerous other creatures rapidly approaching. A monstrous bat creature lets out a piercing shriek, its red eyes glowing with aggression. Kim Sol lands a swift and powerful punch directly to the face of an attacking bat monster. Kim Sol, amidst a flurry of red energy, expertly delivers another forceful blow to a bat creature. Kim Sol swiftly evades and strikes multiple bat monsters with powerful, glowing attacks. A bat monster bites into Jang Jeon's neck, causing him visible pain and distress. Kim Sol, with glowing red eyes and sharpened teeth, sinks her fangs into a bat monster's neck, reflecting her transformation. Kim Sol unleashes a devastating red energy attack, striking down multiple bat monsters simultaneously. Kim Sol smiles wildly, her eyes glowing red, as she revels in the intense combat. Jang Yeom observes Kim Sol battling a swarm of bat monsters, noting they seem to be enjoying themselves, though the sheer number makes it hard to see. Jang Yeom, contemplating the system interface, realizes he can't carelessly ship out the numerous piled-up monsters and searches for another solution. A system interface reveals information for a Subspace laboratory with a transformation function and Subspace life support system, available for a cost of $250. A close-up shows a bat monster letting out a furious shriek, its fangs dripping. Kim Sol's powerful punch slams into the bat monster with immense force. Kim Sol stands confidently amidst the defeated enemies, ready for more combat. Kim Sol, with a determined and slightly sinister grin, gestures forward and states, "Next." A bat monster looks perplexed as Kim Sol stands calmly among its fallen comrades. Kim Sol appears confused, asking why everyone is looking at her, as a faint blue energy begins to surround her. Kim Sol stands among the defeated monsters as a crackling blue energy barrier fully forms around her. A structure of glowing blue electric coils is revealed, hinting at a new device. A system interface details an electric insect mosquito repellent extra large of rare rank, with attributes including electric options for penetration, shock, and provocation. Jang Yeom sits contentedly, surrounded by blue energy from the device, remarking on its effectiveness. Kim Sol's sister confronts Jang Yeom, questioning his interference and asking what he's doing, as he claims he's helping, but she retorts she was just getting into the groove. Kim Sol Lee's sister scolds Jang Yeom for his attitude and asks if he thinks this is a competition, reminding him they need to act quickly. The scene shifts from indistinct shapes to a fiery red skull with glowing eyes, indicating a return to the Skeleton King's perspective. The Skeleton King confirms, with his subordinate, Tristan, that he is absolutely certain about his recent observation. The Skeleton King learns from Tristan that beyond the magician using an item, there was also a human with skills comparable to his own. The Skeleton King sighs, reflecting on the challenge of facing a magician and now an equally powerful human. The Skeleton King declares his intention to summon Lancelot, who questions the decision. Lancelot expresses concern, warning that summoning a 7th rank from the Earth dimension would surely draw the attention of the Chamber of Commerce. The Skeleton King insists they have no choice, as the magician is at least 8th rank, and their power surpasses his own. Lancelot confirms his understanding, ready to obey the king's command. The Skeleton King thanks Tristan, stating he won't forget his sacrifice. Tristan transforms into red energy, affirming he will follow the king's command. The Skeleton King observes as Tristan's essence condenses into a glowing red gem. The Skeleton King cradles a luminous red gem containing Tristan's essence. The Skeleton King commands Lancelot to come forth as red gems float before him. The red gems swirl and glow intensely as the Skeleton King calls forth Lancelot, initiating a powerful summoning. Back with Jang Yeom, electric energy crackles around discarded components, hinting at the device's assembly. Electrical energy flashes around device components, signifying activation or reassembly. Electric insect mosquito repellent extra large IAIC 200+ baseball bat, identifying a new, combined semi-rare item.